Okay. And let me just ask the clerk to confirm we still have 10 commissioners with us.
I'm counting again.
Thank you.
10 with Commissioner Katerina on the phone.
This
Very
is
good.
Barbara, Chair Boehm. I'm Commissioner Pons is having a little bit of technical difficulties. We'll get him right in.
Very good. Thank you. Barbara, I think we need to go ahead and restart, and we'll just bring Commissioner Pons in as quickly as possible. Yeah, thank you. David, we're okay to start?
Yes, you do have a quorum.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Commissioners, welcome back from that technical recess. And welcome again to members of the public, and thanks for your patience and efforts to rejoin us. So we are remaining under agenda item 8 at the moment, which means public comment will still be waiting for a while. I wanted to let members of the public know that. My sense is we are moving closer, perhaps very close, to a vote on scenario 3B. However, by my list, there are 3 potential issues out there for discussion and possible amendment. One related to Rancho San Diego, one related to Borrego Springs, and one related to the fire district. My suggestion would be to ask commissioners first about Rancho San Diego and whether there is a proposal for an amendment. We do not necessarily need to take up an amendment, and I know Commissioner Pons seems to be back with us, and I hope can hear me. But I did want, given the discussion, I did want to offer that opportunity in terms of process. And my proposal would be we take up that issue as a brief general discussion to see if there's an interest in an amendment, and then deal with the 2 other issues I mentioned, along with any others that I may have missed in our overall discussion. I don't mean to restrict it to that, but or there may be other thoughts from the commission. But unless there's objection, let me ask if there are any comments or proposals with regard to Rancho San Diego, starting with the motioner and the seconder. Thank you, Commissioner Inman, for anticipating my plan. Go ahead, please.
Excuse me. My comment is I would not want to add Rancho San Diego and join it in with El Cajon. From the map that we looked at, I don't believe it addresses the issues raised by certain communities of interest and protected classes completely. And so I really don't see a rationale for co-joining it with El Cajon. Thank you.
So it's safe to say that would fall into the category of an unfriendly amendment if it was.
It would, yeah, clearly.
Yeah,
as we
and
move
that's
forward, and I think I'm going to call that on any amendment, quite frankly, simply to make sure that the commission can have their voice heard on all these amendments without joining it as a friendly. So,
very good.
you.
And Commissioner Pons, as a procedural matter, anything to add or clarify or distinguish from?
No.
Thank you for that. Commissioner Russ.
I realize that it doesn't solve the entire problem
because of the map that the Chaldeans gave us. We can't cover that whole amount. But we could cover a big portion of it, and that roughly 22,000 people in Rancho San Diego can easily be absorbed in District 2, and District 4 can easily lose them and not change their or not affect their deviation so greatly. So I think we can at least address a good part of the concern of one COI that we're trying to address, and we're trying to address it by moving El Cajon, out into District 2. So I would disagree with my colleague Ken Inman. Thank you, sir.
Okay. With no other requests for the floor, Commissioner Russ, is there an amendment you would like to propose?
Yes, I would like to adopt 3B here, 3 Bravo, but move Rancho San Diego into District 2.
And you'd characterize the amendment that simply, move Rancho San Diego into District 2.
That's correct.
Okay. Is there a second? I'm not sure we need a second on it, but we have one
No,
anyway.
no.
Commissioner Hanson, thank you. That's good. All right. So let's have a discussion of that. Again, I will keep reminding the commission, it's 2:19. Flo needs some time. We have some potential time limits in terms of commissioner participation. But the motion on the floor is a proposed amendment to move Rancho San Diego into District 2. Commissioner Serban.
Thank you, Chair Beam. So as I understand it, one of the underlying objectives we're trying to meet in creating this central district is to unite BIPOC, refugee, immigrant communities. And my understanding of the geography of that includes El Cajon and Rancho San Diego. So I would like to ask why, rather than the conversation turning towards Rancho San Diego and El Cajon being put into these county district, the conversation instead might turn to El Cajon and Rancho San Diego being put into this central district. And that way we can serve the interest of unifying the specific COI of the Chaldean community to the extent that we can, as well as piecing together the original geography of the BIPOC refugee immigrant corridor that we had tried to empower.
Thank you for that. I have no other requests for the floor. So I'm going to give commissioners one more chance. I will ask the consultants if they have anything to comment on regarding the amendment on the floor to move Rancho San Diego into District 2, but we will move to a vote. Commissioner Diaz.
Yes, I just want to support the comments of Commissioner Serban. I understand we're trying to preserve the COI as much as possible and understanding the complexity of this decision. I also acknowledge the comments of Commissioner Inman. And let's just move. I would not support this. I would consider this an unfriendly amendment. And I would actually I would support more the other version of 3B.
Okay, thank you for that. Co-Vice Chair Garcia.
I guess I agree in principle with what Commissioner Inman described as why 13B as is preferable than trying to move Rancho San Diego out. But Commissioner Inman, I'm thinking you might be able to answer this question. If we were to pursue what Commissioner Serban just said, which is that we would actually try to unify both of these COIs in the central San Diego district, I mean, is that actually feasible at this point? How big of a change, or maybe this is a flow question, like, can we really, we're not, would we be working from the map that we're currently working from? Or would this require so much moving around of populations that's really undoable at this point?
I'm gonna quickly, or maybe Commissioner Inman, if he already, sorry.
I have,
No.
I do have a request from Commissioner Pons as well, but I'm happy to get this in whatever the fastest answer is. Commissioner Pons, do you want to wait for John?
No, I just want to make a quick
Please,
comment,
go ahead.
please. It was never my intent when I crafted the scenario B, 3B. It wasn't to bring in El Cajon or keep it in, District 4. My intent was particularly to do two things: to move El Cajon into District 2 as part of the East County area, and also to sort of consolidate the BIPOC community into District 4. And that included the 3 areas and also the adjustment made by Flow Analytics. And that was the purpose and the intent of creating that scenario 3B. Thank you.
Thank you for that. John, I think you were next to speak unless a commissioner wanted to speak, but I think that'd be useful now. John?
I was just saying, we're gonna look at this right now to get those general numbers of what type of, whether or not the recommendation Commissioner Serban had, what type of impacts that would have. So we will have that shortly.
Okay. I appreciate it being available. I want to be careful with how the commission wants to or does not want to view it, but we can talk about that in a minute. Commissioner Inman, then Commissioner Kugliak.
The other comment I would make about moving El Cajon is it's not simply to address the more recent issues, but it's historically we've heard a lot of comments about El Cajon, and it's an economic center. It's a historic center. It has significant ties to the East County. And so that is the other reason that I'm saying that it would be useful to move it. I also agree with Commissioner Pons that there is also the BIPOC community, which lays claim, if you will, lays claim is probably not the appropriate statement, but has a community of interest that extends into Rancho Santa Fe, and those areas, Spring Valley and such. And so it's kind of working with both of those competing demands is what leads us on the path that we've come to with this solution. And that's why I don't see tying El Cajon with Rancho San Diego into a central district as being an alternative at this point. I think it's very deliberate to separate them the way this map does. Thank you.
Thank you. And I do want to reinforce again, while remaining as neutral as possible, that I really do think commissioners are balancing all the community of interest input and public input we've had. Whether it's sufficient or not is a matter for discussion by commissioners and of course up to the public. But I really do think we are doing as good a job as we possibly can of trying to account for the input, and we look forward to hearing more today. I have Commissioner Kugliak, Co-Vice Chair Katerina, and then Commissioner Serban. Commissioner Kugliak, please.
I would just say that moving El Cajon into District 4, I understand the sentiment where it's coming from, but it's incomplete if we want to maintain the COI. The COI extends outside of El Cajon, and so it doesn't even address what we're trying to address. It would involve also moving Santee, Lakeside, and Crest as well, which I think is outside of the realms of the possible. And so I just I think from that consideration alone, I'm not sure that it's feasible.
Thank you for that. Co-Vice Chair Katerina.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Can you hear me, David? Oh, wonderful. Thank you. I'd like to call the vote on this, if that's acceptable.
It certainly is. In fact, I had only one other speaker, so if that's okay, I'll proceed with that speaker, Commissioner Serban.
Thank you, Chair Bame. And just echoing what Commissioner Inman said, yes, I agree and understand that we have had a number of public's comment attesting to the historic nature and connection between El Cajon and the East County. We had that, we listened to that public comment, and we took a vote on that last week, and we decided on balance that we were going to keep El Cajon out of the East County. And then since then, we've changed our mind. So to me, the change in what we've decided is directly related to the public comment that we've received since last Friday. So I think to be as responsive as possible to try to do what I think we're trying to do here and respond to public comment that's been received recently, it seems as if we might try to keep these the El Cajon and the surrounding communities together, and put them back into this central district as we had before.
We have had a call for the vote. Thank you for that. But because Commissioner Russ has requested the floor and he is the proposer of the amendment, I would prefer if commissioners are willing to let him have the floor, and then we'll have a vote on the amendment. Any objection to that? Seeing none.
I'll be quick. I'll be quick. I'm going to withdraw my amendment. This talk about putting El Cajon back into District 4, this is crazy. So I don't want to muddy the water. I would take 3 Bravo as is, and I'm withdrawing my my friendly amendment. At least I thought it was friendly. I was friendly, but I withdraw.
Commissioner Russ, if we were all characterized by our proposals and amendments, particularly yours truly, we would be in a lot more trouble.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you very much for that. And in all seriousness, thank you for the quick analysis and explanations. The concise nature of the comments are really appreciated. All right. With no amendments on the floor, I'm going, and noting that it's 2:30 and we have at least 150 members of the public following us or participate on the video end of the call. I will ask for any comments that need to be made that haven't been made, and then call a vote on the motion from Commissioner Inman and seconded by Commissioner Pons regarding scenario 3B. And we'll read that again and display it on the screen. Staff, I hope you have it before we actually vote. Commissioner Inman.
I know there are no motions on the floor, but there were 2 other areas that we were talking about. So I just want to understand, if we vote now on 3B, does that preclude a subsequent discussion where we bring those up?
No, it does not. And I apologize for not making that clear. What
Okay.
I'd like to do is now say we are done with amendments unless something emerges in the discussion you're about to hear from Flow Analytics regarding those 2 other issues. I did want to leave that caveat available just in case, but we did request the answer from Flow about the 2 other issues, and we'll go from there. Commissioner Serban, is it something that can wait, or do you want to say it now? Please.
It's just a process question. So are we, once we say yes or no to this map, if we say yes, then are we going to continue talking about how to do stuff with it? Or are we done with talking about this map if we say yes to it?
Well, in particular, we still have to move to the special meeting and hear public comment. I am going to have to restrict public comment in any case to a short time, noting that we have been, I think, very good about accepting lots of public comment, and there will still be plenty to receive. But given the overall nature of the discussion, we also have still technically 2 other scenarios that have not been discussed, although I imagine the nature of the discussion is such that those 2 scenarios it's probably overtaken by this decision if it's so adopted. But again, I'll want to confirm that. So Commissioner Serban, it's a good question. Let me turn to Flo, get the quick presentation on the 2 other issues that Commissioner Inman rightly raised. We'll see if there's a need for any discussion of that, and then we'll move forward. John, Alex,
Thank-
please go ahead.
Yep. I think Alex is going to share a screen so we can just show the areas that we're talking about and show what the impact of that would be.
Yes, thanks. You guys should all be seeing my screen now. I think the areas we're concerned with, we'll do it in this order, Valley Center Fire District, and then talking about Borrego Springs. So Valley Center Fire District, based on the SAN GIS data we have, is outlined in green here. So I believe the area in question is the south portion, making sure that that would be whole with District 5 to the north. You can turn on the streets background if that helps a little bit. This would be like to the east of, it looks like El Norte Parkway, south of Lake. You guys know the name better than I do.
Lake Wolford, and it's in the
Yes.
Wajita Ranch.
All right. So
Thank
that
you,
looks.
Assistant Demographer Brown.
Thank you. Yeah. So that looks accurate. The population of the blocks right here, let me turn on just to highlight those.
Wow.
These fluorescent yellow ones right here, that is a population
35 people.
of 385. So it would be a pretty negligible change in terms of putting that into District 5. It would just barely increase its deviation. If there's no questions on that, I will move over to Borrego Springs. Hearing
Not seeing
none.
any questions, please go ahead.
The other area in question, turn this off, is 3B's boundary as it currently stands is right here, and it's not including Borrego Springs. That would be in D2. I ran some population numbers, and I just want to show kind of them in sequential order to make sure we understand what the options could be. So what we're seeing in blue here is if we extended District 5 out to capture Borrego Springs census designated place, which is this bold blue or purple outline. This block is very large, so it needs to be included. It goes all the way to the border of the county, but you can see how it has to be included because of its shape. That population is 3,098. This is Highway 78 right here. If you include the green portion, so taking this whole northeast block all the way out to the border, and this is, excuse my pronunciation, is it Ocotillo Wells right here? That all together, blue and green, as we're showing here, that one block, that is a population of 3,423. So not a lot of population in the green area. Simple as that. Lastly, on this, I will just say, let me turn on the community plan areas. Making either one of those changes we just looked at are concerning Borrego Springs would split the desert community plan area, which is quite large. It's from this north border of the county all the way down here to the Sawtooth Mountains Wilderness. Obviously, if you change this portion that's, kind of its southern border is 78, you're going to split that in half. I did run the numbers because there isn't a lot of population in that community plan area, as you might imagine. The total for this whole area that I'm outlining right here, the whole desert community plan area, including Borrego Springs CDP, is 4,409. I ran the numbers to see how this would affect the overall range. Doing both this whole change for Borrego Springs and Desert Community Plan area, including the Valley Center change, would increase the overall deviation to 8.2%.
Map up. I'm sorry. Do you want to go to that chart, Alex?
No, I do not have the official chart. I can do it if that's if we need to.
Okay, so it's on request. Good. Co-Vice Chair Garcia.
Yes, and do you have a number if we split that desert community planning area and we maintain that 78 as the border between North County and, D5 and D2?
Yeah, I would think that it would be instead of 8.2 overall deviation, I think it would be about 8%. Because the area that is kind of south of 78, let's see, let me do some quick arithmetic. It would be $385 total population in this area, so that's pretty low. It's more
very little impact. Thank you.
Yeah, it's more about Borrego Springs and Ocotillo Wells.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Brown, then Commissioner Krugliak, then Commissioner Diaz.
Yeah, that looks good to keep that whole area together. If they're all part of the same planning area, then I think they ought to be kept together. And it doesn't seem like it affects the overall that much different.
Thank you, Commissioner Krugliak.
It just seems like we're getting very close to a vote on 13B, and I was really hoping to have the more detailed ability to elect analysis before choosing between 2 and 3B, specifically like the breakout of the table 3s. Is that something that we'll be able to get from our expert consultants while the rest of this discussion about these regions are going on?
We certainly can ask. Thank you for that. Let me take Commissioner Diaz and then we'll turn to Dr. Gross. Commissioner Diaz.
Yes, it's just really important to keep planning areas intact as much as possible, since there's a lot of environmental planning that goes into that as well. I guess I'm just trying to understand what the public commentary that we received and just refresh my memory if somebody can say that, if there's been some significant public comment that saying that this COI really needs to be part of District 5. Let me know, and I have no problem with it. It's just
Sonia, so it would.
Let me just add, I'm sure Commissioner Diaz that all public comment is significant. You're just wondering about the general size of it relative to this issue. You're muted.
As the specific issue and reason why, what is that connection?
Very good. Commissioner Inman, then Commissioner Serban, Commissioner Brown.
Thank you. I was just going to say that in our last meeting, they were in that district and they were connected to the North County. Their hospital and services come out of Escondido. And so they felt ties into Escondido economically and for services and such. And so being connected with the other area that goes all the way down to the East County wasn't satisfactory for them.
Got it. Thank you. Then I would support this amendment.
Thank you. Since Commissioner Serban and Brown have had the floor and I see Dr. Gross is ready, and I apologize if I kept you waiting, let me turn to Dr. Gross.
Yeah, sure. I've got, so Commissioner Krugliak, I've got the data for both scenarios 2 and 3B. I'm happy to share my screen, though I don't think I'm on video to do that. I'm not. I think I might need to be invited as a panelist to show those data.
Staff, I think he's listed as a panelist, but maybe there's...
be. Yes, he should be okay. Let me see what's going on.
Okay, thanks. Yes, so I can tell you, but would you prefer if I just share the data that I did while we were here?
Please.
Okay, sure. Let me share my screen. So just to recall, this is from the analysis that was posted on the website. And this is just the overall win rate for Latino candidates of choice across all 4 maps. What I did during the meeting was do a little bit more that would be helpful to you. So this is map 2 and 3B. Oops, I'm sorry. Bear with me for a second. Here we go. So this is map 2, scenario 2 and scenario 3B. And just as you recall, the exogenous election ability to elect analysis is to try to assess if Latino candidates of choice will have an opportunity to win in each proposed district. And so what I've gone through here is, again, all elections with a Latino candidate who is running in a situation in which there is significant racial polarization, in which you can identify that the Latino candidate is the Latino candidate of choice. In these particular elections, running against another candidate who's not Latino. And this is from the last decade, from 2012 to 2020, all of those elections. And so we use these again because endogenous elections of the supervised level don't map onto the new districts. These elections do map onto the new districts. And so you can see there are some differences within the vote share for each individual Latino candidate choice. The average vote share varies somewhat. But the overall win rate, that sort of top line number, doesn't change across the district. So just looking at District 4, for instance, in map scenario 2, 59.3% average vote share among Latino candidates of choice. In map scenario 3B, that's 59.4, right? It's a very slight increase in scenario 3B, but not a substantially different number. If you look at District 1, which is a Latino opportunity district, 62.7% average vote share in map scenario 2, 62.4% in map scenario 3B. Again, slight difference, but not dramatically different. And then you can see the individual elections of interest, because I know Commissioner Kruglak, you had asked about the Sanchez race. And so you can see there's a little bit of a difference in the Sanchez race in the third column on 2016, 50.9 versus 51.3 in District 1, for instance.
And I'll just add, Commissioner, staff is emailing this to you as we speak.
Yes, and this is live. This was live ability elect analysis today at the meeting. So, yeah.
So noted, but the data are still useful. Thank you, Dr. Gross, for that. Okay. Commissioner Krugliak, I have at least one other request to speak. Did you want to respond on that, or do you want some time to look at it?
Yeah, no, I'm just looking at it and will happily do so for a little bit. So thank you so much for that. I'm good.
Good, thank you both. Commissioner Sherman.
Thank you, Chair Boehm. And while Commissioner Inman is of course correct that we had received recent public comment requesting the Borrego Springs be drawn in with the North County District due to those connections he mentioned, we also did receive public comment in the past that had raised connections with Borrego Springs and other backcountry communities that would at least support the current configuration of Borrego Springs. There was public comment that that Borrego Springs is connected in a backcountry coalition with the communities of Ramona and Alpine and Lakeside. And so I think we can substantiate our decision either way on this.
Thank you. Commissioner Brown, and that's the last speaker I have. If we're going to do this, I likely will need an offer of an amendment, even if it's from one of the movers, and then we can decide if it's a friendly amendment or not on both or either of these issues. But I don't want to mix things up too much. Let me turn to Commissioner Brown first.
Borrego Springs is definitely North County, and it always has been. We kind of egress and it may be a desert community similar to the deserts of District 2, but they do all of their stuff with North County. So, and that's what they've been telling us. There's only a few residents there. So we got probably the same percentage from that area as we did from some of the larger areas as far as opinions go. So can I make a motion to
I would accept this as a friendly amendment.
Yeah, a friendly amendment to include everything in the district planning, area that Borrego Springs is currently in. So that would take it all the way down. I don't know what that, what the other road is. It goes across there. Is that a freeway or was that a
Fire District 2 will have everything and be done.
If we just call it the Community Planning District of Desert as well
And-
as
And
Borrego.
also to
And Borrego
amend the lines to include the Wajita Ranch area for the fire district in Valley Center. Can we have both of those in the same motion?
As
Or the same friendly
I'm
amendment?
certainly happy to entertain them both in the same motion if they're both taken as friendly amendments. Commissioner Inman,
Yeah.
you already signaled they are for you. Commissioner Pons? Very good. I'd like to get the language right on this. And I also want to bring the amendment, the motion language up anyway. So with the commission's permission, okay. Commissioner Inman, since this is fitting within
I
the
think all you
language
need
that you've been using as SPOC as well, please.
include everything in the
In
desert.
District 5,
It's called the Desert Planning District, I believe, Alex.
okay.
I don't see Alex's face. Oh, he's nodding, yes. It's
Yes,
the
sorry,
desert,
yes.
Everything in the
Desert
desert
CDP.
plan area.
desert planning area, as well as, is Borrego Springs, is that a CDP or is that a,
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a CDP.
yes, as well as the Borrego Springs census designated place?
Mhm.
Yeah,
into
actually, you could
District 5.
keep it, if I may, the Borrego Springs community planning area. I'm double checking right now, but I think that's a slightly larger and includes the CDP. So we might just want to say desert community plan, desert and Borrego Springs community plan areas.
Yeah,
Does that take it all the way south, including them?
yes,
Really?
it does. It does. Yeah,
Yes.
takes it all the way south.
And that should be included in District 5.
And you can get rid of the and to include all that
Right.
stuff. You just,
Or not and, but just include.
oh, wait a minute. Sorry, strike
And.
that. No, I think that you are correct. I was reading
Yeah, we have
something
to
different. You don't want to
separate
strike that. You want to have that in
Right.
there. I'm sorry.
Not at all. Okay, so Commissioners Brown, Inman, and Pons, this is accepted as the friendly amendment?
Guajito spelled with an E.
And I
Guajito.
wanted to then get the correction. Thank you for that.
Acceptable.
Okay, very good. So Commissioners, with the understanding that this motion overall, not just the friendly amendment, but the top part of the motion to amend the final working draft map to include the changes reflected in final working draft map scenario 3B is what would take, if this passes, this is what we would take up in the sole agenda item in the special meeting once we reach it. Now, that requires, while we'll approve this, I do want to turn to the other two scenarios as well as to make sure that's the commission's intent before we leave this agenda item. But for right now, we're just focusing on this vote.
Oh, what? It's still not spelled correctly.
No, it's
Sorry.
GUE, I think. And then JITO. Yeah, that looks right.
Commissioner Diaz, you agree? Yeah, good. Thank you. All right, so not seeing any other requests for the floor and not hearing any from participants by phone. David, would you please call the roll for a vote on this motion to amend the final working draft map to include the changes reflected in final working draft map scenario 3B, including everything in the Desert and Borrego Springs community plan areas, and to include the Guajito area, to include the Valley Center Fire District into District 5? Would that be acceptable, just to be clear? Okay, that there's a movement here? Okay. David, would you please call the roll for a vote?
Thank you, Chair Bame. Commissioner Larson,
Aye.
Commissioner Diaz,
Aye.
Commissioner Dostal,
Aye.
Commissioner Servin,
Nay.
Co-Vice Chair Garcia,
Aye.
Commissioner Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Krugliak,
Aye.
Chair Bame,
Aye.
Commissioner Pons,
Aye.
Commissioner Inman,
Aye.
Commissioner Russ,
Aye.
Commissioner Chen,
Aye.
Commissioner Hanson, Commissioner Hanson, I think you're on mute.
Aye.
Thank you. Co-Vice Chair Katarina,
Aye.
that motion.
Aye.
Thank you. That motion passes with Commissioner Servin voting no, all other commissioners being present and voting aye. Chair Bing.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Diaz.
I wanted to change my vote for the record, but I don't know if, I think it's too late.
I will take a hit, I'm sure, from the clerk and council on this, but since no other action is or comment has been received, I'm comfortable with allowing that. I will, but let me ask David, can we just ask for any changes in vote and then redeclare the vote closed and the totals?
You're
You
saying I
announced the vote.
misreported the vote?
You did record the vote.
If I misreported the vote, then that's certainly corrected. So I recorded Commissioner Diaz as being an aye vote. Are you correcting that vote to be a nay vote?
I would like to change that to a nay.
And is that what you're asking me to do, Chair Bing?
Yes, and I'll attribute it as well to technical problems because I may have missed a hand while checking for other connections. So we'll
So
just
let me-
treat it that way.
The report of the vote is that the.
I'm sorry, hold on one second, one moment, Commissioner Brown.
Just a quick question. Do we have to name that a friendly amendment or is it a motion? There
No, it's
wasn't
just
really a
part, because it's a friendly amendment and is listed as such, it's part of the motion.
Okay.
Okay, good. Clerk,
The
please.
motion- The motion passes with Commissioners Diaz and Servin voting no, all other commissioners being present and voting aye.
Thank you very much for your patience on that, Commissioners. Commissioner Brown, did you have another point? No, good. All right, so with that, we've certainly exhausted discussion on that. Technically, under this amendment, under this agenda item, I'm sorry, we could take up scenario 1, scenario 2, or further discussion on the final working draft map, although it has now been amended, and I would recommend that represents the closure of that particular aspect of the agenda. Let me ask if there is comment to be offered or request to be offered regarding scenario 1 and scenario 2. Co-Vice Chair Garcia.
I would like to withdraw the scenario 1, which stemmed from some proposals that I made. I was disappointed in it as well. So, and I haven't heard much support for it. So I don't believe there's anything to discuss there.
Except I very much do appreciate getting that on the record, and particularly because you had not had a chance to react to what had come back. I appreciate that. So thank you. Commissioner Russ, then Commissioner Diaz.
Since I was the proposer for scenario 2, I am actually in favor of scenario 3 Bravo. So I too would like to withdraw my scenario 2.
Commissioner Russ, I'll turn to you in a minute to ask if you're also reversing yourself to cheer for Navy, but I think I know the answer on that.
No, as a matter of fact, I think Navy's the head, I think.
Commissioner Diaz.
No, I think I was interested in the first scenario, but after all of this deliberation and discussion, just for the record, I support it in concept, but with some changes to Commissioner Garcia, or as a scenario 1. So I just want to state that for the record. But I'm willing to move forward with 3B, although my vote might be different than everyone else's.
Very good. I appreciate that. And again, commissioners, we will have another vote. Theoretically, possible amendments, although I would want to be careful with that given time constraints, but we'll see where we are. All right. Not seeing any other requests to speak under agenda item 8. Let me ask council, do we need to take a motion to now turn to the special meeting, given that we still have agenda items for this continued meeting, or can we simply move forward to the special meeting that was supposed to start at 2 o'clock?
I think the best practice here is going to be to wind up this agenda. And what you can do is table these last agenda items to the special meeting. And get a vote on that, move them forward.
That sounds fine to me, and we will try to move them to the special meeting after the existing agenda item, the special meeting. So I'll be taking a vote on that in a moment after getting a motion. Co-Vice Chair Garcia?
I move that we table the remaining items on the agenda. to the
Very
next
Second.
meeting.
good. And Commissioner Larson, second. Thank you. Any discussion? David, please call the roll for a vote.
Thank you, Chair Boehm. Commissioner Diaz?
Aye.
Commissioner Pons?
Aye.
Commissioner Inman?
Aye.
Chair Boehm?
Aye.
Commissioner Russ?
Aye.
Commissioner Brown?
Aye.
Commissioner Dostal?
Aye.
Commissioner Hanson?
Aye.
Co-Vice Chair Garcia?
Aye.
Commissioner Krugliak?
Aye.
Commissioner Chen?
Aye.
Commissioner Servin?
Sorry, technical difficulties. Aye.
Commissioner Larson?
Aye.
Co-Vice Chair Katarina? We may have lost Co-Vice Chair Katarina.
Yes, we did.
Yes.
The motion passes with all commissioners who are present voting aye.
Thank you very much. And I'm going to take one pause here. Clerk David Hall does a remarkable amount of work that neither commissioners nor the public sees to make sure we are running things procedurally correct. David, I just want to take the moment. Thank you for putting up with my questions and needs for correction, and thank you for doing all you do. It really is appreciated.
Thank you for saying that. It's very kind of you.
With that, commissioners, and with the permission of the clerk and council to make sure we're doing this right, or their agreement, we are now going to declare the meeting having exhausted. Commissioner Servin? Very good.
Oh, sorry, I was on mute. I just wanted to ask, are we taking public comment on the next agenda item? Is that how it's going to go?
That is correct. So what we're going to do now is declare the meeting that started on Thursday, December 9th, completed and adjourned because we have moved the agenda items to the special meeting. I will just say very quickly, that concludes the business before the Independent Redistricting Commission from the December 9th meeting. Our next meeting will be an IRC special meeting starting in about 30 seconds, which will be held virtually via Zoom. More details, maps, and meeting links for our county IRC are available on our website, www.drawyourcommunity.com. This meeting of the commission is adjourned at 3:01 p.m. Commissioners, members of the public, welcome. Thank you for joining us for the Independent Redistricting Commission of the County of San Diego's special meeting today. We're glad to have you with us. I'm going to dispense, well, no, I'm going to ask clerk, please call the roll because I want to confirm which commissioners we have here.
Thank you, Chair Boehm.
And David, do you need to make introductory comments at this point?
I don't know that I do. The previous meeting was continued.
Very good. And when we get to public comment, of course, we'll want to do that, but please go ahead.
Chair Boehm.
Here.
Co-Vice Chair Katarina is absent. Co-Vice Chair Garcia.
Here.
Commissioner Brown.
Here.
Commissioner Chen.
Here.
Commissioner Diaz.
Here.
Commissioner Dostal.
Here.
Commissioner Hanson.
Here.
Commissioner Inman.
Here.
Commissioner Krugliak.
Here.
Commissioner Larson.
Here.
Commissioner Pons.
Here.
Commissioner Russ.
Present.
Commissioner Servin.
Present.
With 13 commissioners being present, you do have a quorum. Chair Boehm.
Thank you very much, David. We turn first to the sole agenda item, which is on this agenda at the moment. We have just amended it and we have additional agenda items that we will need to cover. But we turn to item 3, a discussion and selection of the final working draft map or of the final working draft map as amended, which I will describe at this point as scenario 3B, for adoption as the IRC's 2021 redistricting plan for the County of San Diego Board of Supervisors. We will begin with public comment. Before I ask the clerk to provide some further background and procedure on that, let me note that we have a great many public participants and unfortunately very limited time to complete our work. I am therefore going to ask council to confirm that if I, as chair, so need to limit time and limit time for speakers, I can do so under these circumstances. And I will just note that my intention is to limit it to 60 minutes with approximately 1 minute for each speaker, although I want to confirm that as well with the commission. But Council Marguerite, I first wanted to check with you. My intention is to propose 60-minute total limit for public comment, 1 minute each speaker.
That's within your discretion.
Okay. Commissioners, is there any objection or comment on that? Seeing none, Commissioner Serban?
Thank you, Chair Boehm. I would just say that we have probably arrived at one of the most important decisions that we are going to arrive at as a commission. So to then respond to the public and say that we're going to limit the public's ability to comment on that decision, I think runs counter to what we've been professing as our central values of public engagement and accountability and transparency.
Thank you for that. I will point out that the alternative would be to have a longer period for public comment with the understanding that that would likely result, as we heard earlier, in a delay of how any map we adopt today may be moved forward, examined, subject to the requirements and required review that we have, and result in according pressures that might result in the need for another meeting. I just wanted to flag that purely procedurally. And I express very formally my regret for even having to bring this up. But I do see most commissioners I think, having the same regret, but also understanding the circumstances we're under, as well as other factors. So with that in mind, unless there are any other requests for the floor. Commissioner Serban, is that another request or are we? Okay, Commissioner Diaz, please go ahead. Commissioner Serban, if you have more to say, I'll turn to you. Okay, thank you. Commissioner Diaz.
This might be unpopular, but trying to find a middle ground here. 1.5 minutes.
We can certainly change that. I was trying to find the maximum time for numbers of speakers, and I feel like 1 minute is probably almost the same as 1.5 minutes for most speakers.
I agree.
So Vice Chair Garcia.
I think maybe Commissioner Diaz, do you realize what he's saying is 1 minute per speaker, but a total public comment of 1 hour. So we're going to cut off. So I don't think 1.5 minutes is just going to mean we're going to hear from fewer speakers in that scheme.
If there's a group of speakers, then a group of speakers would have 1 minute total, or each person 1 minute. I just want to be clear.
Unless council or clerk tells me there's some requirement not to, I intend for each speaker to have 1 minute. Marguerite, David, any comment on that? Commissioners, I would just note we are taking time and this may make things more difficult towards the end. Commissioner Serban?
So to be clear, the effect of this process would be that there are people in the public that have been waiting to provide us with public comment who, because they will be outside of this 1 hour limit, will then not be able to do so today. Is that correct?
It is correct with regard to this meeting. It is incorrect in that we have had, and I would strongly advise commissioners to attend to this, a great amount of public comments submitted electronically in the last several hours. And I really do encourage any member of the public who does not have a chance to speak today to please submit the comment electronically or work with our staff to find a way so that you know how to. And I'm sure they'd be happy to do that. Marguerite.
Yes, the reason I didn't answer your question, Chair, is I wanted to find out if we had any groups signed up, and we do. And they signed up under a set of rules which offered them more time. And so I'm concerned about changing that now.
So that they signed up at the procedural time in which they are still entitled to that.
They're already signed up.
Very good. What is the guidance regarding the order of taking individuals or groups?
Chair Bam, let me just say that it's
Please, David.
very difficult to take groups ahead of individuals the way that the technology is working. So my intention was to take the speakers in the order in which their hands appeared. And if one of those speakers or more of those speakers are groups, then when they are unmuted, I'd like for them to identify themselves as such.
Very good. Marguerite, is that acceptable?
Acceptable.
And I use that word very carefully. And what time limit, using our existing policy and using all flexibility, do we set for groups with the understanding that we are allotting 60 minutes?
My understanding, well, what were we doing? Was it 2 minutes?
It was 3.
3 minutes. So is there it would be in the chair's discretion to change that.
Understood. Commissioner Kruglack?
I would just ask that you either change it to 2 minutes or change the number of people in a group to 3 minutes so that it is fair to individual speakers who will only get 1 minute.
I agree with that.
Very well. So we will make groups 2 minutes, individuals 1 minute, and I will implore speakers, not as a means of cutting them off, but to be respectful to all members of the public, to be as concise as they possibly can. I very much appreciate that. Any final comments from commissioners, council, or staff? Commissioner Serban.
I'd just like to understand, how is it that we came to decide that it's 60 minutes of public comment instead of 90 or 120?
It's the chair's.
I'm just trying to get there.
It's the chair's discretion. That's how it was decided.
I mean, I guess what's the basis for that decision, though?
I am drawing that with regard to the maximum amount of time I can see while allowing commissioners to have time to discuss the map and this agenda item, take action, and meet the technical and procedural advice we got from our consultants, in particular, our demographer.
So does that mean that we're not going to talk about the timeline? Like we're rigid on the 15th?
We can talk about any item appropriate under this agenda item once we get through the public comment. And that's
but once we do that, it's
also why I'm doing it. Commissioner Serban, we're taking away very urgent time. I'll turn the floor to you once more.
Oh, that's okay. That's fine. Oops.
Thank you for that. All right. With that, David, so please proceed. Please explain any necessary process. But you can set the time that we are starting, and that will be the 60 minutes. I'll ask the clock to be shown on the screen. And again, individuals have 1 minute, groups have 2 minutes, but please be respectful as much as possible to other speakers. David.
Thank you, Chair Bam. We have 58 speakers, 13 of whom are groups who have submitted a request to speak form in advance. I'll also check for members of the public requesting to speak at today's meeting by raising a virtual hand. Each speaker will have 1 minute to address the commission. Groups will be afforded 2 minutes. I'll begin by calling speakers by name for those who are logged into the Zoom session, or by the last 4 digits of your phone number for those who have called in. I'll do so in the order that your hands appeared. You will hear or see a notification that you've been unmuted. For those calling in, you'll need to dial *9 to raise a virtual hand. You'll then need to dial *6 in order to unmute yourself. Each speaker is asked to state their name for the record. Begin with Kathleen Hedberg, followed by Leila Aziz. You have 1 minute to address the commission. Kathleen Hedberg, you'll need to unmute yourself.
Good afternoon, commissioners. I've been on this phone call since this morning at 10 a.m. and you guys have done a lot of great work and discussion, and I know it's hard. I've lived in the Mount Helix region for over 20 years. And Thursday night, you went into the map situation with Mount Helix in the East County, where it belongs. And today you propose 4 new maps with only 1 map keeping us in the East County. That's map scenario 2, which I support. If you go with 3B, that is fine with the adjustment of putting Mount Helix in the East County area where it belongs. It is a rural, very cultural, with lots of character community, and we will only get the representation we need from having an East County supervisor. Otherwise, being with City of San Diego does not do us any good. Please understand our rural and cultural issues. Taxation without representation is tyranny. Thank you for the opportunity to listen.
Thank you. Leila Aziz, followed by Louis Michael Knights of Columbus. Leila Aziz. Leila, you'll need to unmute yourself. I'm going to come back to you. Louis Michael, followed by Travis Lyon.
I'm up.
Okay, please mute your microphone or mute your speaker on your computer. They've muted themselves. You'll need to unmute yourself, but turn down the speaker on your computer. Okay, I will come back to you. Travis Lyon, you have 1 minute to address the commission.
Good afternoon, commissioners. My name is Travis Lyon. I'm the chair of the Alpine Community Planning Group, but I'm speaking as an individual. I've attended many of these meetings. I've watched your deliberations. I think you have done a very good job, and it's been very transparent. I've watched your recent deliberations, but I will have to urge you to move Rancho San Diego into District 2. Rancho San Diego has a significant Chaldean population that needs to be kept with the city of El Cajon. That community of interest has spoke loud and clear about their desire to stay in East County. I understand the decisions you've made, and I don't know if you're going to change that at this point, but I have to urge you, as somebody who works in El Cajon and has worked with that population, the city of El Cajon may be the heart of the Chaldean community. Rancho San Diego is its head. I think it's probably the 2nd largest population of Chaldeans. And I'd urge you to make that last change. Thank you for all your time. You guys are great.
Thank you. I'll now check back with Leila Aziz and then Louis Michael. Leila, you have 1 minute to address the commission. And I'm showing you still as being muted. Okay, thank you. Louis Michael, you have 1 minute to address the commission. You are muted. Going to turn to Janine Ericat, followed by Jerry Patchett.
Good afternoon, commissioners. Thank you for your hard work today and for the year-long dedication. Again, I want to thank you for keeping the Black community in Central and Southeast San Diego together in 3B, but I'm asking you to make an amendment to keep El Cajon in District 4. El Cajon has been included in District 4 due to months of COI testimony where you heard directly from low-wage earners, renters, our newcomer communities advocating to be together with other BIPOC, refugee, and immigrant communities. Please have the courage to do the right thing and draw district lines that keep communities together. El Cajon and Rancho San Diego can be kept together in D4 so you can juggle multiple COIs kept together. Please keep communities that struggle side by side, who need to be advocated for and who have not had a chance to build stability in their resettlement together. Thank you again. And please, I ask you to add El Cajon into D4.
Thank you. Jerry Patchett, followed by Natalie Sampson.
Hello, thank you, commissioners. I've been a resident of Fallbrook for 21 years, working as a community volunteer. Residents of Fallbrook have worked hard to collaborate with our neighbors in Bonsall, Rainbow Valley Center, our tribal lands, and the 78 corridor in Oceanside, Vista, San Marcos, Escondido, to create a community that serves all of our residents. We are a well-functioning district with alliances in cultural, sports, economic, healthcare, fire, and emergency services. We support the 3B proposal map, which keeps our North County communities intact and will serve all the residents of North County. Thank you very much for your efforts on our behalf.
Thank you. Natalie Sampson, followed by Yasmin Obeid.
Good afternoon, commissioners. Thank you very much. This is my first time ever speaking out for my community, and I'm proud to do so. I've been a resident of Fallbrook for 20 years. I am the wife of a retired Marine Corps officer and veteran. I love this community very much and would like to see it remain with, as the previous caller said, 3B, remain with our District 5. As you are currently looking to move lines, I would encourage you to keep our unincorporated areas of Fallbrook, Rainbow, Bonsall, Valley Center united with our nearby tribal lands, as well as the 78 corridor cities of Oceanside, Vista, San Marcos, and Escondido. Together, we are the most northerly by definition and geographically on the map of San Diego. So it's not just logic, it also is convenience.
Your time has expired. I'll go to Yasmin Obeid, followed by Chaldean Community.
Thank you. I'm speaking in group with Nadine Hassoun.
Okay, we'll afford you 3 minutes. Please begin. Or 2 minutes, I'm sorry. Please begin.
Hello, commissioners. My name is Yasmin Abed, and I have with me Nadine Hassoun. We're both part of the Majdal, the Arab Community Center of San Diego. And we're here to thank you for keeping the Black community in Central Southeast San Diego together and urge you to please add the El Cajon back to District 4, Draft Map 3B. By doing so, you are reuniting our newer comer refugee communities who have been part of this process over the last 6 months, who have been bullied in the past week or so, and have not been able to come out to participate because of fear of repercussions. I urge you to listen to their months and months of public comment and use the power to have to lift up their voices, the voices of those most marginalized BIPOC communities of El Cajon, Spring Valley, etc. El Cajon is changing and it's going to look completely different in the next 10 years. And Nadine? Nadine, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Let me allow them to talk. Go ahead.
Thank you. I also want to reiterate to keep El Cajon in District 4. El Cajon is different than other East County cities, as El Cajon has the highest poverty rates and the largest percent of growth in poverty among East County cities. If you remove El Cajon from District 4, you're keeping the status quo that we've seen in San Diego County for decades. We've seen the effect that this has had on our communities. They struggle to pay rent, they face increased rates of homelessness and poverty, and lack the resources they need for successful resettlement. We've seen the direct harm that this climate has had or has done to the newest waves of refugees. They've been assaulted on the streets, bullied in public and private schools, and exploited for cheap labor. And right now they're having their voices erased by those who support keeping El Cajon in East County. San Diego County welcomes more refugees than any other California county, with significant numbers of them resettling in El Cajon, and it's likely that our region will experience the second largest resettlement of Afghan refugees in the state. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll go to Chaldean Community, followed by Stephen Nissa.
So we're at group presentation. Do we get 3 minutes?
You'll get 2 minutes.
All right, well, I'll wrap up quickly then. Good afternoon, Chair Bain, members of the commission. My name is Vince Catula and I'm a Chaldean community activist. I want to start off by saying that we appreciate that your commission has been working on this for the last year and a half. But if we had more than a week to respond to this issue, we wouldn't have had 500 Chaldeans right now at St. Peter's Chaldean Cathedral ready to speak. I'd have 10,000. I want to tell you that we do not appreciate your guys' attempt of silencing our voices by placing a 60-minute time limit on public comment. I could tell you that most of them would have spoken Arabic, and had you guys listened to their public comment, you guys would have all been speaking Arabic like Chair Bain. I'll summarize my points. First and foremost, we follow the teaching of our Lord Jesus Christ, and we do not discriminate against any culture, religion, or community. And as a matter of fact, we provide services to other communities. Next, we thank you for fixing the El Cajon issue, but we now have a Rancho issue. We have a proposal for you guys to consider we'd be okay with. Take notes. If the commission took a portion of Rancho San Diego, east of Avocado Boulevard and north of Campo Road, where Highway 94 meets Campo Road, and brought that into the East County, we'd be okay with that. This area is the area that surrounds St. Peter's and the majority of our community. You need to balance the populations anyway, since you're removing Borrego from East County. So I think this would resolve the issue. Finally, leave us alone. We have been escaping persecution for the last several decades, and our community does not appreciate being broken up by your commission. Thanks for your consideration, and I hope the next time we see you is not in court.
Thank you. I'll go to Stephen Nissau, followed by Rami Ibrahim. Stephen Nissau, you have 1 minute to address the commission.
Yes, hello, my name is Stephen Nisu. I am a Chaldean Catholic born in America. As you can hear, all the clapping from the Chaldean Americans who are here at St. Peter's Hall, alongside all of the El Cajon residents who are here in support of keeping El Cajon and Rancho San Diego together. Please consider the proposition that Vincent Catula just presented. And please note that we, the people, are the voice and we are not being heard. This is not okay. We live in a country in America where we have freedom of speech and freedom of choice, and we need to be heard. We just heard about this the last couple of weeks, and we are all standing together as El Cajon and Rancho San Diego and all of East County, not in support of these current maps. Please do your job and please respect our rights as Americans. We came to this country, our families came to this country for us to be respected and for us to be heard, and our voices are being heard.
Thank you. Your time has expired. I'll go to Rami Ibrahim, followed by Kevin Bala.
Hi, commissioners. My name is Rami, and for months, community organizations have mapped our communities and concluded that a significant number of immigrants and refugees live and are resettled in El Cajon. Unlike other communities, we do not want to be left alone. We need support. Months of COI testimony has asked you to put El Cajon in District 4, and until last week, the commission changed their minds due to an influx of one group of COI testimony. El Cajon is so different from other East County cities with the highest poverty rates and largest percentage of growth in poverty among all East County cities. And we're likely to resettle more Afghan refugees who will be resettling in El Cajon. If you remove it from District 4, you're keeping the status quo that we've seen in San Diego County for decades, and we've seen the effects this has on our communities. Thank you so much.
Kevin Bala, followed by Zoom user.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Good afternoon, commissioners. My name is Kevin Bellu. I am a Chaldean American living in Rancho San Diego. Please hear our voice. Please hear our concerns. We want to keep Rancho San Diego with the city of El Cajon. Geographically speaking, El Cajon and Rancho San Diego is one big land. All the addresses in Rancho says El Cajon. By taking away Rancho San Diego, you are dividing the Chaldean community in East County. You are taking away our voice, our happiness, and dividing us. We do not belong with Central San Diego. We share no common interest whatsoever. We, as a Chaldean community, share the same interest with the area that we live in, East County. With all due the respect, commissioners, your job is to hear the community's voice. The community of Rancho San Diego wants to be with East County. Chaldeans are not bullies. Chaldeans follow the word of Jesus Christ. Thank you and Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Zoom user followed by 8337. The person who has identified themselves as Zoom user, you'll need to unmute yourself. I'll come back to you. 8337 followed by Luis Zetuna. 8337, dial *6 to unmute yourself.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you now, yes.
Hello, my name is Randy Chander, and I've been a resident of Elkhorn since 1993. I grew up here, and our community has very close ties to everybody in East County. We have common interests in Rancho San Diego. We have common interests in El Cajon, in Santee, in Lakeside. Everything that surrounds El Cajon, we have common interests. The purpose of redistricting lines is to put communities together that have common interests. You putting us with City of San Diego makes no sense. We respect them. They're our neighbors, but we have nothing in common. I'm just here to ask you to show some compassion, hear our voices, and let us be heard, because what you guys are doing is wrong. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Luis Zetuna, and then I'll check back with Zoom user.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello, my name is Luis Zetuna. I'm a member of the Chaldean community. I appreciate all the hard work and the time that you guys are putting. I very appreciate everything you guys have done. I just don't understand, why would you wash away what Commissioner Russ has suggested to keep El Cajon and Rancho San Diego with the East County? I really like that map. It kept us. Now he suggested a new map that you're gonna take Rancho San Diego away from El Cajon. All Chaldeans that go to El Cajon, half of them go to St. Peter Church, which is in Rancho San Diego. This is like our heart. Keep us together. Keep us together. Please, please keep us together. And you know what? I hate how people are actually putting us as Islamophobics, and we play basketball with a lot of Muslim friends. A lot of Muslim friends I call as brothers. I cannot believe they are using that kind of race card. Do not fall for that. Do not fall for it.
Thank you. Your time has expired. I'll go to Zoom user, followed by Louis, JP LaBerge. Zoom user, you'll need to unmute yourself. Okay, I will move to JP LaBerge, followed by Thomas Ritz.
Yeah, this is, hi, this is a group. Sorry, this is a group.
You'll be afforded 2 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay, and the group is John Dummer is the other speaker. Okay, so my name is JP Thaberge. I'm speaking as the chair of the Elfin Forest Harmony Grove Town Council, a community organization founded in the 80s to advocate for the interests of the United Rural Community of Interest of Elfin Forest and Harmony Grove. We have done extensive outreach throughout our community to gauge sentiment on this redistricting. Many of our residents have written in. We thank you and appreciate you listening to us, and we support the proposed map scenario 3B as it pertains to Harmony Grove and Elfin Forest. On land use, it keeps our San Diego planning area mostly intact. We regularly petition the Board of Supervisors and the planning group when we encounter land use issues in our community, which is one of the largest issues we have to deal with. We have representatives from Harmony Grove and Elfin Forest sitting on the planning group. We are considered one community with one combined community plan document that is approved by the county, and we regularly join together at hearings and petition the supervisors as one community. We've even sued the county and won, and recently when they made decisions that put our community at risk. Money for those lawsuits was raised for both by Harmony Grove and Elfin Forest residents. It is crucial we not be separated from our San Diego planning group communities, which include Eden Valley, Harmony Grove, Elfin Forest, Rancho Santa Fe. For that, scenario 3B does the best job. On fire safety, 3B also keeps our fire district intact. We are in the Rancho Santa Fe Fire Protection District. We started our first volunteer fire station in 1980, and it's called the Elfin Forest Harmony Grove Volunteer Fire Department. And we voted the highest fire benefit fee in the county. And we've lobbied them for our merger with Rancho Santa Fe Fire. And now we have a fire safe council that includes our United Communities of Elfin Forest Harmony Grove. So we are inextricably linked with each other along with Rancho Santa Fe. And for public safety, it is crucial that we not be split into multiple board districts. For that, scenario 3B does the best job. We are a rural island that is neither coastal nor North County cities. We're our own entity, and we just want to be able to effectively advocate for our community. And for that, scenario 3B does the best job, as it keeps our fire district whole and our community planning group whole. From Eden Valley, Harmony Grove, Elfin Forest to Rancho Santa Fe. Thank you.
Time has expired. And for the record, John Dummer was given permission to speak. Thomas Ritz, followed by Nadine.
Yes, hi, my name is Thomas Ritz. I'm a homeowner in Fallbrook, and I want to thank the commission for your hard work and effort to achieve a cogent and equitable solutions for the citizens of San Diego. That being said, Fallbrook and Duluth are the northernmost CDPs in San Diego County, and both are west of the 15. Fallbrook is North County. El Cajon and Santee are South County. Using common sense as our guide, common sense tells us to leave Fallbrook in its longtime District 5 untouched as you move a map forward. Some of the other Fallbrook residents that commented with some very key points, all of those should be taken into account. I know you guys have a really difficult job, and I congratulate you to do the best you can for everybody. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Sarah Farouk, followed by Justin Domacio.
Hello, I'll be speaking with a group, so if you can allot me the 2 minutes.
Yes, you'll be 42 minutes.
Okay, great, thank you. Hello, commissioners, thank you for your hard work. My name is Sarah Farouk. I'm an Iraqi Muslim who came to the US as a refugee. I'll start off by urging you to please add El Cajon to 3B proposal. I'm speaking in concern of El Cajon and why El Cajon must stay in District 4. Our newcomer refugee communities who have been a part of this process over the last 6 months have been bullied out of the process. I urge you to listen to their months and months of public comment and to use the power you have today to uplift refugee, BIPOC communities of El Cajon and Spring Valley. El Cajon has been included in District 4 due to months of COI testimony where you heard directly from low-wage earners, renters, and our newcomer communities advocating to be together with other BIPOC, refugee, and immigrant communities. These are not just Arab communities of El Cajon. There are Somalis, Ethiopians, Congolese, Afghan refugees and immigrants, and other folks who have mutual support networks that span to City Heights. And I'll have the other speaker here.
Hi, my name is Tal Farouk, and I'm also in the group. So El Cajon is much different from other East County cities, as El Cajon has the highest poverty rates and the largest percent of growth in poverty among East County cities. If you remove El Cajon from District 4, you are keeping the status quo that we have seen in San Diego County for decades. We have seen the effects this has on our communities. They struggle to pay rent, face increased rates of homelessness and poverty, and lack the resources they need for successful resettlement. San Diego County welcomes more refugees than any other California county, with significant numbers of them resettling in El Cajon, and it is very likely that our region will experience the second largest resettlement of Afghan refugees in the state. Please do not move forward with propositions to remove El Cajon from District 4. From El Cajon to City Heights, our communities must reunite. Thank you.
Thank you. Justin Domacio, followed by Steve M. Justin, you'll need to unmute yourself. Justin, I'm still showing you as being muted.
Oh, hi. I just unmuted myself. Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right. Hi. I just wanted to thank the commissioners for moving forward with the map that keeps North County and our rural communities together. I very much appreciate the fact that our communities of interest were listened to. And I'm very happy to stand as a member of the AAPI and queer community in solidarity with our Indigenous and Latinx communities. And I'm very grateful to the Commission for hearing our leaders, even when they were tired or weary or nervous, speak before you, and that you valued our input. So thank you, and I wish the Commission the best of luck in the coming days. Thank you.
Thank you. Steve M., followed by Tim Snyder.
Good afternoon, commissioners. My name is Steve Mattia, and I'm a member of the Chaldean community. The commissioners are being asked to address the Chaldean community of interest, which encompasses much of East County, mainly El Cajon and Rancho San Diego. The IRC is obligated to follow certain criteria, specifically numbers 2, the geographic integrity of local neighborhoods or communities shall be respected in a manner that minimizes its division. And number 3, geographic integrity of a city shall be respected in a manner that minimizes its division. Map 3B without amendment to keep Rancho San Diego and District 2 goes against criteria 2 and 3. The Chaldean community as a COI has not properly been represented with Map 3B. Days of public comment have stressed to this commission to understand that El Cajon and Rancho San Diego and much of the East County are in line with the Chaldean community of interest ideals. With motion to remove Borrego Springs from District 2, that would solve any population issues to include Rancho San Diego back in District 2. I request this commission to adopt an amended Map 3B where El Cajon and Rancho San Diego are part of District 2. Thank you.
Thank you. Tim Snyder, followed by S. Williams.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
You stress the effort to keep community planning areas whole, but your final map not only cuts the Spring Valley community planning area in half, but also sends the halves to 2 different districts and puts these 2 unincorporated halves into districts that are primarily incorporated areas. For the CPA, this is a lose-lose-lose situation. It is unfortunate that the commission has caved to responding mostly to public pressure and not protecting an established, unincorporated, and heavily populated community planning area. Thank you.
Thank you. S. Williams, followed by Lynn Hopewell.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, good afternoon, and thank you for this opportunity to address the commission. My name is Susan Williams. I'm a proud resident of Harmony Grove. I serve on my HOA and the Elfin Forest Harmony Grove Fire Safe Council boards. Additionally, I serve on the San Diego Planning Group. I'm speaking today as an individual. Harmony Grove and Elfin Forest are unique, largely rural residential neighborhoods within the San Diego Community Planning Group area. We share the same vision and concerns with regard to fire safety and responsible land planning, use, and development. Furthermore, along with the other areas within the San Diego Planning Group, we share the same fire district, Rancho Santa Fe Fire Protection District. We ask you today that you respect the unity of our unique unincorporated area and keep Harmony Grove and Elfin Forest in District 3. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Lynn Hopewell, followed by Debbie O'Neill.
Hi, my name is Lynn Hopewell. I'm a member of the Ramona Planning Group. I'm speaking on my own behalf. I want to thank you all for the time you've taken, including Flo, in creating these maps. Based on the current map that we're looking at, 3B, I like that map with the exception of Mira Mesa, Rancho Penasquitos, and Convoy District being in Area 2. They have none of the demographics, needs, or values of what East County Ramona have. To make up for putting them into either 3 or 4, I would say move Rancho San Diego back into Area 2. And I do appreciate the fact that you guys are looking at moving Borrego Springs into District 5 as they had requested. Thank you all for all your work and all the hours that you have put into making this happen for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Debbie O'Neill, followed by Ramon Mansour.
Hi, this is Debbie O'Neill. I've lived in Harmony Grove for over 20 years. After our community spoke at the December 2nd meeting, the map was adjusted to reflect our wishes, which was to keep Harmony Grove, Elfin Forest, and Eden Valley together, and to be placed in the coastal district with the rest of the communities who are in the San Diego planning area, as well as the Rancho Santa Fe Fire Protection District with us. We were very happy about this, as can be seen by the emails and e-comments sent in by the residents of our community. It's important for us to stay together as we have for generations. At the last meeting, some voices came forward to ask to separate Harmony Grove from Elfin Forest and place us in the North County District. These voices are from people who do not live in Harmony Grove. I can't speak to what their motivation is, but I humbly ask that the committee please listen to the wishes of the people who live in our community and keep us together in the coastal district as you planned. It makes the most sense, and it is what those of us living in these communities want. Thank you for keeping us together in map 3B.
Thank you. Ramon Mansour, followed by Rawan Obeid.
Hello, I'd like to request to speak as a group.
You'll be afforded 2 minutes. Go ahead.
My name is Ramon Mansour, and I represent the Neighborhood Market Association as well as St. Peter's Church Diocese. I presented a map to you at the previous meeting and in hopes to show you what our community looks like in a very clear way. I appreciate that you've listened to our community and our concerns, and I appreciate that you've made changes, but now we've made one step back when you brought in Rancho San Diego back into District 4. I ask you, please keep our community together and keep us in East County. Now, we are aware of the other testimonies, and we're very, very aware that the ones that say they've been speaking with you for the past 6 months, including an organization by the name of PANA, have made it very clear that they want Central San Diego and parts of East County to be merged because they so-called represent the Arab immigrants here in San Diego. And we made it very, very clear over hundreds of testimonies that they don't represent us. They don't represent the same interests as we do. We are East County people. We've been here for the last 50 decades, and we belong together in East County. Now, they belong in their district, and we applaud their efforts to strengthen their voice, but their voice simply does not equal our voice. We don't share the same interests and the same common values. Us as a Chaldean community belong together, and we belong in East County because we share these same values together. Now, please, I urge you, listen to the communities that live here in East County. And we've spoken here together as a community. I beg you, do not listen to communities that don't live here, that live in Central San Diego, and
Time has expired. And I'd remind those identifying themselves as a group that the commission would like to hear from each member of the group. I'll go to Rawan Obeid, followed by Andrew Hayes.
Hello, my name is Rawan Obeid, and I'm speaking in a group with 3 people who are here with me.
You'll be afforded.
Hi, I'm Nihaya Obeid.
I'm Ramsey Burney.
Hello, I'm Basim Obeid.
Thank you for reuniting the Black community. We are urging you all to please add El Cajon in 3B. Please do not split our newer communities in El Cajon and the city and City Heights and surrounding areas from one another. The Chaldean community wants to keep Rancho and El Cajon together, and our newer communities want Rancho and El Cajon in D4. A common ground would be to unite Rancho and El Cajon in D4 and add El Cajon to draft map 3B. Please do not ignore our months of public comments. Thank you.
Does that conclude your presentation? Thank you. We'll go to Andrew Hayes, followed by Mac Williams.
Hi, good afternoon, commissioners. Andrew Hayes, a Lakeside School Board member. I'm in my official capacity. First off, I want to thank you as always. And I also believe I recall from a previous meeting that today is the chair's birthday. So happy birthday, Chair Boehm, and appreciate your work on your birthday. Anyway, I just wanted to comment on a couple things. One, thank you so much for hearing East County. We have spoken and you have recognized our community of interest, so thank you for that. The other thing I would like to mention about El Cajon is thank you for bringing that into East County. It is the gateway to the rural communities, so appreciate that as well. And the one thing I had heard earlier was a discussion of Rancho San Diego. I do think there was a proposal mentioned by Vince Catula about Rancho San Diego that maybe you want to take a look at. That might help balance the population in between District 2 and District 4, as well as the loss of Borrego, which also has loss in population from District 2. So take that into consideration. Really appreciate your thoughtfulness, and I hope you have a great rest of the evening.
Thank you. Go to Mac Williams, followed by Kat Donnelly.
Hello, my name is Mac Williams. I live in Harmony Grove,
Thank you so much, commissioners, for making this process so transparent and for listening to our community of interest. Elfin Forest, Harmony Grove, and Eden Valley are a united rural community, and you have enabled us to continue having one voice with our supervisors. As an unincorporated community that is constantly working to preserve its identity and autonomy, please note we are west of the 15 and south of the 17. And thank you for not putting us into East County, with whom we have no linkage. We encourage you to approve the final draft map without altering our community any further. Thanks again.
Thank you. Kat Donnelly, followed by Gloria Conejo. Kat Donnelly, you need to unmute yourself. Kat Donnelly, I'll come back to you. Gloria Conejo, followed by Catherine and Aaron Merg.
Hi, hello, commissioners. My name is Gloria Conejo. You've heard from me and my colleagues these past few months. I'm going to shift my mic over to mi mami and papi. I believe they are one example of the American dream that is alive in North County, San Diego. They are one family who is fortunate and was available to speak in today's meeting. Here you go, Dad.
Hola, mi nombre es José Luis Conejo. Tengo viviendo en Escondido 34 años desde que llegué de Guanajuato, México. Tengo familia que vive en Oceanside, Vista, Valley Center, Fallbrook y todo el condado norte.
Hello, my name is Jose Luis Conejo. I've been living in Escondido for 34 years since I arrived from Guanajuato, Mexico. I have family living in Oceanside, Vista, Valley Center, Fallbrook, and all of North County.
Yo trabajé en San Marcos por 16 años, de soldador, supervisor de producción, bodega, etc. Conocí a mi esposa en el grupo de jóvenes en la Iglesia Católica de Resurrección en Escondido. Tengo 3 hijos que nacieron en Palomar Hospital en Escondido.
Hi,
Excuse me, start the counter over to give him another minute, please. Go ahead.
I worked in San Marcos for 16 years as a welder, production supervisor, and warehouse manager, etc. I met my wife at a youth group at the Catholic Church of Resurrection in Escondido. We have 3 children, which were born in Palomar Hospital in Escondido, and they also graduated from Orange Glen High School. Hello, my name is Matilde Conejo. I and my siblings were born in Palomar Hospital, but were raised in Palma Valley. Both my parents' extended families raised their families in the citrus groves of Palma Valley, unincorporated North County towns. 2 of my siblings, including myself, went to Fallbrook High School, and my sister graduated from Orange Glen High School in Escondido. Our working class community has always tried our best to uplift our immigrant community to be good neighbors and good stewards in North County, San Diego. There are many families with similar stories like our families who live in North County. Please keep our Latino communities of interest together in regards to North County. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Go to Kathleen and Aaron Merg, followed by Kat Donnelly. Catherine and Aaron Merg, you need to unmute yourself. Come back to you. Kat Donnelly, you have 1 minute to address the commission.
Hi, good afternoon, Commission. Thank you for all of your time. And my name is Kat Donnelly, and I live in Fallbrook. And I really just want to give my time to other people and say that I echo the comments from the other Fallbrook residents. And thank you for giving us this time to speak.
Thank you. Go to Lynn, followed by Esther Sanchez.
Yes, I've lived in Fallbrook for 21 years, and we are North County. And I don't think that our district should be changed at all. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Go to Esther Sanchez, followed up by Luca de Sanctis Barton.
Good afternoon, honorable commissioners. Thank you so much for everything that, all the work that you've been doing and all the hours and days. My name is Esther Sanchez, Mayor of City of Oceanside. I'm speaking for myself and actually also with the coalition of our communities of color throughout North County. You have received emails and testimony from our various communities of color. And I so appreciate that you heard our voices so very, very much. So just speaking to say, yes, we do support the District 5 as you have passed for 3B. to include Borrego Springs. And just thank you so much for listening to us. Thank you.
Thank you. Luca De Sanctis Barton, followed by Paul Alexander.
Hello, Commission. I wanted to say that unfortunately, the Chaldean population wasn't involved earlier, and I wish it was, because a lot of COIs have come together to talk amongst one another. But we're here now where we are, and the map is here now where we are. And so one thing I want to point out is it seems pretty obvious the Chaldean community is very strong, socially, economically, with lots of churches and businesses, and that the spirit of the VRA and creating a more perfect union and the 15th Amendment and all this is to really help the disempowered and the marginalized communities. And historically in San Diego, the Black community has been split into multiple districts. So I'm very glad that they are together. But I would like to say that the Chaldeans, if we get El Cajon and Rancho, that it's a good compromise to bring in, and maybe look at doing Claremont that's higher socioeconomic going into D2 to balance it out, and Carlsbad if necessary. Thank you.
Thank you. Paul Alexander, followed by Paulette Schaefer.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to start off by thanking you for taking time to revisit an extremely problematic map. I'm also thankful that you decided not to dilute the Black vote in San Diego in a time where Black voting rights are being dismantled all over the country and overt racism is in vogue again. It's hard for me not to notice some of the hints of racism in some of the comments, and therefore I feel it's necessary to speak and to point out how condescending some of the Chaldean callers sound, who dismiss the concerns of recent immigrants with comments like, quote, "I have Black friends," and quote, "I play basketball with plenty of Muslims," and then go on to say that they belong in their own district. I think it's telling that while some are advocating for El Cajon and all immigrants, including Chaldeans, to be included in their district, Chaldeans are fighting hard to stay separate. That doesn't sound very Christian to me.
Thank you. Paulette Schaefer, followed by Ramla Sahid. Paulette, you're muted.
Okay, hello, sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, hi, my name is Paulette Schaefer. I am a teacher up here in Escondido. I've been a resident of Fallbrook, San Marcos, all over North County. And I just want to say thank you to the commission for putting Fallbrook in District 5, for keeping Escondido, all these unincorporated areas of rural North County in District 5, to keep this voting block of working class Latinx community together. It's just been too disjointed and disenfranchised and diluted for way too long. And so I am just very thankful to the commission for making that a priority in these iterations and the evolution of the mapping process. It has been really great to see. And yeah, I think that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Ramla Sahid, followed by Hadil Karim.
Good afternoon, commissioners. Thank you so much for all the work that you're putting in. I just want to flag that last Friday, you heard from the Market Association and lawmakers there supporting to protect incumbency. I want to remind you that Mayor Wells presented alongside the Market Association, which is driving a lot of this Chaldean turnout, and makes the point clear that their comments suggest preference for certain elected lawmakers and protecting incumbency. They are protecting a status quo that hurts our growing newcomer Muslim, Arab, and refugee communities, and keeping El Cajon in East County will leave them without representation. I also want to lift up comments made by Commissioner Serban this afternoon. A good compromise is making sure El Cajon and Rancho San Diego are kept together by putting them in D4. This ensures BIPOC communities of interest are protected while keeping COIs together. Please reject bullying and the xenophobia you've heard and vote for a map that keeps our BIPOC communities together, which includes El Cajon and Rancho San Diego. And this reflects the true diversity of San Diego. Thank you.
Hadil Karim, followed by 5362.
Hello, thank you so much for giving me the chance to speak. My name is Hadil and I work as the Community Support Navigator with Majdal Center. San Diego County welcomes more refugees than any other California county, with significant numbers of them resettled in El Cajon. And it's very likely that our region will experience the second largest resettlement of Afghan refugees in the state. Please do not move forward with the proposition to remove El Cajon from District 4. From El Cajon to City Heights, our community must reunite. The Chaldean community wants to keep Rancho and El Cajon together, and the newer community wants Rancho and El Cajon District 4. A common ground would be to reunite Rancho and El Cajon in D4 draft map 3B. Thank you so much.
Thank you. 5362 followed by Fady Polis.
Good afternoon. My name is Judith Howell, and I'm speaking on behalf of Planned Parenthood Action Fund at the Pacific Southwest. We believe that Pond's Amendment version 3B is the best version that will do good for all communities in the South area and the county. It keeps the AAPI communities together in the Coastal District D3. It keeps majority of the Black communities together. And then it will also correct the gerrymandering that occurred when Coronado was put into D1. I also want to emphasize that we support the recommendations from earlier to unite Rancho San Diego and El Cajon in District 4. Thank you.
Thank you. Fady Polis followed by Brett Osborne.
Hey, my name is Fadi Polos, and as a El Cajon resident and also as a member of Chaldean community, I would like first of all to go ahead and thanks every and each one of you for all the hard work that you are doing since the start of this project until today. And I would like to encourage you so hard to go ahead and hear our voice. We are clearly said that we don't like to be separated. We want to be together. As a Chaldean community, we want to be together as always. Please, I encourage you so hard to listen to our voices. We are a lot of people right now in El Cajon. Right now, they want to go ahead and speak. Please, I encourage you so hard to give them a time and to hear them voices. Thank you again.
Thank you. Brett Osborne followed by 3731.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, so I'm a lifelong resident of San Diego County, and I just wanted to speak up on behalf of my Black and immigrant and refugee community members and encourage you all to go ahead with moving El Cajon into the Central District 4. I understand that there are other communities that feel very strongly about this, but as I understand it, El Cajon looks very different today than it did, more than a decade ago. And other groups that are more vulnerable in our society are being left out of this process, and it would benefit them to keep El Cajon, move El Cajon into the new District 4. So I strongly urge you to go through with that going forward. Thank you so much for all of your hard work and for making this process so transparent. It's a really nice change of pace.
Thank you. 3731 followed by 4767. Press *6 to unmute yourself.
Okay. PANA doesn't represent El Cajon. Agenda-driven groups like PANA need to apologize to all their followers who they use it and dupe. Their blind believers are told that Chaldeans can't speak English, are poor, only identify as so-called BIPOC refugees, and are in need of an urban-located Big Brother agency to redirect their lives. All lies. For those who have obviously never been to East County, Chaldeans and other Middle Easterns were welcomed beginning 50 years ago. That's 5 generations worth of a settled community of interest in cities such as El Cajon, Santee, Rancho San Diego, and Jamul. Most speak English, have successful businesses, have children who were born in East County, have stayed in East County with a safe and slow lifestyle, honor their culture, love America, and are an undeniable part of the East County COI. Racial segregation and racial gerrymandering, especially by outside agencies, including this IRC commission, needs to end. El Cajon belongs in East County. No compromises, no exceptions.
Thank you. 4767 followed by Marissa Allen. Press *6 to unmute yourself.
Thank you, committee. My name is Marlon Oram. I'm the president of the Neighborhood Market Association. I believe the committee is making a futile attempt to listen to the COI that is the Chaldean Americans in East County. It is misguided to the attempts that are being currently made by the commission today. The very nature of splitting El Cajon and Rancho makes absolutely no sense. But even beyond that, not only should El Cajon and Rancho be together, they must be together in East County, along with all other cities and municipalities in East County that share the same ideals and geographic location and community interests. The withdrawn map number 2 from Commissioner Russ solved all of these issues with an easy fix. Listen.
Thank you. Marissa Allen, followed by Felipe Jimenez.
Hello, my name is Marissa Allen. I am a lifelong resident of North County, and I just wanted to thank the commission for keeping the inland North County communities together and keeping the unincorporated areas together with the urban areas that serve them and are connected. Thank you.
Thank you. Felipe Jimenez, followed by Jory Leon.
Hello, my name is Josue Jimenez. I'm using my mom's computer currently. I live in the North County in the unincorporated area of Fallbrook, and I've lived here for 31 years. I asked the district to be left in District 5 untouched as you move the map forward, to keep our unincorporated areas like Fallbrook, Rainbow, Bonsall, and Valley Center united with our nearby tribal lands, as well as the 78 corridor cities of Oceanside, Vista, and San Marcos, and Escondido. Thank you, and please keep North County together as it is, Fallbrook is part of the North County. Thank you.
Thank you. Jory Leon, followed by DJ Cotton Candy.
Thank you, commissioners, for all the time and hard work you've put into this redistricting process. My name is Jory Leon, lifelong resident in Fallbrook. I implore the commissioners to please leave District 5 untouched as you move this map forward. Maintaining unincorporated areas like Fallbrook, Bonsall, Rainbow, and Valley Center, united with our nearby tribal lands in the cities of Oceanside, Vista, San Marcos, and Escondido, in the 78 corridor is imperative, most especially for the unincorporated communities who rely on our supervisor to serve as our voice in the county, especially as it relates to funding for Fallbrook's fire safety, law enforcement, health services, and public transportation. Thank you, and please keep North County together as is. Fallbrook is and should remain North County.
Thank you. DJ Cotton Candy, followed by 7169. You're muted. Please unmute yourself.
Hello?
Yes,
Hello? Okay, yes. Sorry. As in a, do you all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, sorry. As an Asian American, as a Filipinx who strives to practice what solidarity looks like, I've been reminded in redistricting that the system will divide us as this process has been disheartening and dehumanizing. It's been heartbreaking to hear the ways this process continues to tear us apart. But what can be possible is that Black, Brown, Indigenous, Asian, refugees, and all people of color communities, working class, queer, and disabled peoples, is that we can dream together. We won't allow this system to divide us. What I'm proud of is our trusted and most diverse, vulnerable communities and comrades are in solidarity with one another. And we're working together to protect each of our communities, not privileged or entitled interests. One cannot claim friendship in basketball when one is invested in neoliberalistic colonized whiteness. I firmly name we're in solidarity with all communities of color's interests. Thank you for keeping Black communities together. And we're grateful for Asian communities not being put into white areas in East County. We demand El Cajon must stay for. After all said and
Thank you. Your time has expired. 7169, followed by Louis Michael. Press *6 to unmute yourself.
Good afternoon. My name is Linda Berg, and I'm calling regarding Harmony Grove in North County. To repeat what I believe is an important point, Harmony Grove has strong ties to inland North County and should be included in the North County Supervisor District. Children from Harmony Grove attend Escondido schools since the area is within the boundary of both the Escondido Elementary District and the Escondido High School District. I recognize that you pay close attention to population in each district and the overall deviation within each district. However, the population of Harmony Grove is just a few thousand people, and adding that community to the North County District is, in reality, just a minor addition. The unincorporated community of Harmony Grove is best served by a supervisor who understands the unique character of North County and how the needs of Harmony Grove can be addressed. Placing Harmony Grove in the same supervisory district as Escondido is appropriate. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Louis Michael, followed by 1474.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Good afternoon. Sorry for the earlier communication issue. My name is Louis Michael. I'm the first to thank you guys for your time and listening to me speak today. I'm a current Grand Knight of the Knights of Columbus of the Marchoma Council. When we speak about divide in the current map showing that, I believe Rancho San Diego and El Cajon is a true testament of a family. By having El Cajon and Rancho San Diego split into 2 different districts, the voices will not be heard. It causes a huge impact in the community. I'm going to give you an approximate number of community members, about 60,000 in the Chaldean community, who have worked very hard to make El Cajon and Rancho San Diego their home. The unity of this community would be split, and the representation will be lost for our community. Please consider keeping our families together so we can continue to grow and prosper in this lovely country. As of Columbus has served El Cajon refugees with mattresses, clothing, and household items, then continue to support the community as a whole. Thank you for your time and God bless.
Thank you. 1474, followed by John Dummer. Press *6 to unmute yourself.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Hi, this is Tony Shores. I live in Rancho San Diego. I just want to keep Rancho San Diego and El Cajon in Ace County. And that's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you. John Dummer, followed by Ross Pike.
Unmute. Okay.
Hello, thank you for listening to the folks of Harmony Grove, Elfin Forest over the last couple of weeks. We are a united community that has a unique characteristics, and that we're a very rural area in west of the 15. I very much would like to see us stay in 13B with Elfin Forest and Rancho Santa Fe. It actually saddens me to see recent comments sent to the commission from outside business interests whom are pushing a narrative that Harmony Grove is part of Escondido. As a matter of fact, when given a chance to be part of the sphere of influence of Escondido 10 years ago, the community overwhelmingly voted against doing so. This is because Harmony Grove and Elfin Forest are rural communities that have a desire to remain rural. Escondido's interest in annexation was to build high-density housing in our community. Please don't let outside business interests, people who don't live here, determine our future.
Thank you. Ross Pike, followed by Chaldean Community.
Hi, I'm part of a group with Michelle McCaffrey.
And are they with you?
No, she's also on the Zoom. I'll go ahead and start while you find her.
Start and I'll see if I can find her.
Perfect, thank you. Good afternoon, commissioners. My name is Ross Pike. I'm an elected member and board secretary for the Fallbrook Planning Group. Our group represents 50,000 Fallbrook area residents in North San Diego County. This afternoon, I've been asked by our group chair to speak to you again in my official capacity as a Fallbrook elected official. Thank you for listening to the hundreds of Fallbrook residents and North County who have submitted e-comments and given meaningful testimonies, including today. Thank you for drawing a North County district that is reflective of our regional identity with unincorporated areas like Valley Center, Bonsall, and Rainbow, the nearby tribal lands, as well as our North County identity with 78 corridor cities, Oceanside, Vista, San Marcos, and Escondido. I'd also like to thank you, especially because this district would protect Fallbrook's 48% Latinx community by uniting it with our neighboring Latinx communities. Myself, our chair, as well as the rest of the planning group, on behalf of the 50,000 residents who elected us that we represent, reiterate our official support as a representative body that was voted unanimously to support a North County district as drawn in the current map being considered. Thank you for your time.
And Michelle?
I'd like to thank you for your time and thank you for keeping Fallbrook within the North County district. Thank you.
David, could you advise the public how much time is left?
We have about time for one more speaker. I will go to Chaldean Community of East County. You'll need to unmute yourself. Going to go to Ronnie Petros.
Good evening. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. Good afternoon, commissioners. And thank you all for your hard work that has been put together for months to properly align counties. My name is Ronnie Petros, and I am a member of the Chaldean community, and I am a Chaldean American that has migrated to this great country since '93 with my family. My family and I have lived in El Cajon since we arrived, and we've seen our community grow. Today, over 60,000 Chaldeans stretch in the East County, including but not limited to El Cajon, Rancho San Diego, Santee La Mesa, and Alpine, and Hamul. I've been in other meetings and I've heard you talk about interest of high pop community, but yet you have no regards to our Chaldean community. Having El Cajon or Rancho San Diego removed from East County means breaking our community and therefore having our voice silenced. El Cajon and Rancho San Diego need to be kept together so that we can have a voice that can represent us.
Thank you. Thank you. Chair Boehme, we began public testimony at 3:12. It's now 4:13. It's been over 60 minutes.
Very good. Thank you, David. Staff, could we restore the screen, please? Remove the clock. Thank you. All right. Commissioners, I'm going to follow somewhat rigorously the standard rules now because we've had some discussion outside of motions. So at this time, we can consider any motions to approve the amended version of the final working draft map, scenario 3B, as previously discussed. In accordance with Rosenberg's rules of order, which are the rules we have incorporated in our bylaws, including the need to have a motion on the floor before any discussion, I'd first like to request a motion to approve the amended version of the final working draft map, scenario 3B, as previously discussed. Do I have such a motion? Commissioner Inman, thank you. Second?
Second.
Commissioner Russ, thank you. All right, I have Commissioner Diaz and then Commissioner Serban. I will continue to remind commissioners of the timeline that we've discussed before. Commissioner Diaz, please.
Yes, for the record, I'm still not happy with 3B. I think that, we've heard sufficient testimony as well to keep Rancho San Diego and El Cajon together as a COI, and I would propose moving that to District 4. And I also want, for the record, I don't know if the clerk can give this, how many more people do we have that didn't get a chance to speak today? Thank you.
You're the chair.
Please, David.
15. There are 15 hands that are up right now.
Is there a way that we could still hear that public comment? I mean, it sounds like 15 minutes.
With the understanding,
I would support that.
With the understanding that this will have an impact on our timeline, could I see a show of hands of those opposed to extending public comment by 15 minutes? Okay, that is sufficient. We're going to keep public comment closed. I will add for the record that there is extensive electronic comment just today, certainly more than speakers that we've had, and much of it after our meetings began. So I do prefer commissioners tune to that.
Chair Boehme,
yes,
I'm sorry to interrupt. I just wondered if you could restate for the record at this moment what Flo told us about when they need to get some information from us, because that's what is driving my decision that we need to move on, if you could.
Alex, John, I'll ask you to repeat or adjust if there's been such an opportunity, given the work you've already done.
We have said 6 p.m. Alex, I think we are okay with moving that to 7. Alex, can you confirm that I have that right?
Confirmed. Yes.
Okay, we are we can move that out to 7 p.m.
Very good.
Yeah.
I don't want to put too much weight on your shoulders. It was a simple question. I do appreciate Co-Vice Chair Garcia because it's an update given the work that's already been done and the responses given. Marguerite, did you want to comment on this?
Yeah, I wanted to understand that deadline a little better. From a process point of view, I'm anxious to get the commission's map published. And is 7 o'clock? 7 o'clock is when you need the changes, but how does that impact a complete package that we could potentially get posted tonight in advance of our December 14 meeting? I sure we could be mapping until midnight and not get the packet we need for public notice. So John, it's not how late do you want to stay up, it's when can we get a product to post?
And I don't think any commissioner understood it to be as something of a matter of convenience or anything like that. It is that timeline that you just laid, or the steps, Marguerite, that you just laid out. So thank you.
Yeah.
John?
Yeah, so, and once again, we can turn around the packet rather quickly. But we can get that tonight. If Alex wants to chime in, it's just a matter of, there's a review of these maps that we need to do. That's going to be detailed. And that does take a little bit of time. And it can potentially require some input from the commission, depending on what we find when we're doing that review.
John,
my only thing
and I'm
to
also-
chime in.
Go ahead, Alex.
My only thing to chime in or question is that, Margaret, can you be clear that we're talking about the standard, PDF packet that includes the statistics and the map? Is that what's absolutely needed this evening?
Well, we need to have, in my view, a document. Well, we need the scrubbing report as well. And in my view, we need to have a document that is accessible to the public, that it can explore. And I love the PDF packets, but I actually think the ideal is to get this map on the web viewer.
That's also possible. Yep.
Is that possible? And my goal, our goal on the staff level, but me legally, was to hopefully get all of that data out to the public tonight. The plan is to identify our map tonight, realize that's the map we're going to move with, and pass our resolution on the 14th. So if there are errors, we can do tiny fixes, do the have an agenda that would like that, etc. But the most important thing is to get the map published.
Okay. And
yeah, we can accommodate that.
Yeah, with the 7 p.m. we can do that.
And commissioners, I want to reinforce, this is not for the sake of process. This is for the sake of getting the information and the map to the public in, as Marguerite put it, an explorable way, which I think would be extremely useful. All right. The list I have right now is Commissioners Servin, Russ, Hanson, Brown. Commissioner Servin.
Thank you, Chair Boehm. I would first like to strongly advocate for allowing the public an additional 15 minutes. I think that, again, we have just arrived at one of the most important decisions that we've arrived at.
Commissioner Servin, I'm sorry. The point's been made. We talked about it. We are considering a motion at this point. I really would prefer to stick with that.
How can we consider the motion if we haven't heard from the public? That's my point. I mean, I know what you're saying, that they can submit their public comment via electronic mail. I can't consider that until after we've heard this.
Commissioner, please. By my count, we had 54 speakers, including groups. I consider that very useful, especially given the far greater number of written comments that I've taken some time to read. I hope other commissioners have taken time to read. I think we're doing the best we can on that. And I would again ask, we need to be discussing the motion on the floor.
So if I guess in discussing the motion on the floor, I'm wondering if we're going to have enough time to discuss this. And again, back to the point of, do we need to consider our timeline? So aside from that, the other thing, my main comment is, I want to just say that I'm proud to be a part of this process, to have the privilege to serve the people of this county, especially those for whom this might be their first time ever directly participating in something like this. So I want to recognize and thank the public for organizing to advocate and engage with this commission. I think it's important to acknowledge the months and months of work of those that have been doing the work out in the communities that they live in. And so realize what this work looks like. It means outreach, education, activation, mobilization, oftentimes with new Americans who require translation and other additional assistance. So I'm very grateful that those people organized and especially got those community members to come to our meetings over months and months of what we've been doing, giving us hundreds and hundreds of comments. And yeah, what we did is last week, we gave due consideration to the question of El Cajon. We weighed hundreds of public comment given over months of public meeting. And last week we resolved to commit to a statement of principles, and we had the courage to decide this issue already. So while we've received a lot of additional testimony since then, that testimony was mostly repeated what we already knew when we made the vote last week. Nevertheless, we seemingly reversed ourselves, took El Cajon out of the central district and now placed it in the East County district. So I'm not sure why we did that. I guess if you want, I'm thinking, this is kind of an honest reflection of the state of American democracy when, at the last minute, things like this can kind of happen. And then we're sort of like saying to the public, like, it's okay. We're not going to give you the time that you want to address us. I'm really upset about that.
Thank you for that. Commissioner Russ.
Thank you. Thank you. Many said just move El Cajon back into District 4. That's 107,000 people. It's not that simple. I don't think a lot of folks understand the constraints that we have. We certainly should. We have looked at El Cajon in District 4, and we've looked at it in District 2. By the way, it's currently in District 2 where it is, because it is the gateway to the East County. So I think we have addressed this very, very thoroughly, very thoughtfully, and I am very much in favor of 3B. But I do want to ask Commissioner Pons, who's really the proposer of 3B, about this issue of having Rancho San Diego, the 22,000 people there, go from D4 to D2, because right now, by my count, after we've added Borrego and all, right now D2 is in deficit of 24,000, and D4 is in surplus of 15,000. If we put those 22,000 people in Rancho Santa Fe from D4 to D2, what's happened is that the variance for those two districts really shrinks a great deal. In fact, the D2, the deficit of 24,000 people goes down to a little over 2,000. In D4, the surplus of 15,000 people goes to a slight deficit of about 6,000. It's a better balance. It's a better balance, and plus, I think it's a better placement of Rancho San Diego to put it into District 2. Now, I did propose a friendly amendment to that. Commissioner Pons did not think it was so friendly and I did not want to delay the process. We are really in a time crunch, very much so. And I wonder if Commissioner Pons might reconsider to place those 22,000 folks, that population of Rancho Santa Fe, into D2. It does not, by the way, it does not affect our overall deviation. I've got a little spreadsheet, and I agree with John and Flo. I think they did their calculations right. I get an 8.1% deviation by adding in Borrego Springs and Ocotillo Wells and all. So good work, Flo. Good work. I'm checking on you. But I wonder if Commissioner Pons might not reconsider that as a friendly amendment. And but like I say, I do not want. This is a very workable, very good map, I think.
With that, let me just point out procedurally. The motion on the floor is that proposed by Commissioner Inman, seconded by you, Commissioner Russ.
I know.
So technically, yeah. So with the with the commission's
okay.
permission, because we have a very short speakers list right now, and I'll ask Commissioners Hanson and Brown if they're willing to defer. I'd like to give the floor to Commissioner Pons to let him answer Commissioner Russ, if he's so inclined.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you very much for that. Commissioner Pons.
Of course, Commissioner Russ. I did not consider your amendment unfriendly, first of all.
Okay, thank you.
I consider it to be logical and, it was rational as well. I'm not looking at the numbers. I went back and I looked at the community of interest inputs, and there were a number of comments that said that they wanted Rancho San Diego into district and inside of the District 4. Later, in the present discussions, there have been a lot of discussions, very emotional, about not having a Rancho San Diego in District 4 and moving it into District 2 to be along with El Cajon. I have not been convinced that that is the right move based on my initial inclination to move it into D4 based on the initial comments and recommendations by the community of interest submissions early on in the process. So it wasn't an issue of numbers. It's still not an issue of numbers for me. It's an issue of the inputs from the public.
Okay, and we've had input from the public, really, to move it into 2. It makes sense. The numbers will help us. I mean, the numbers are not, it's not going to cause a problem.
Commissioner Russ, could I ask you to suspend for just a moment? Any members in the meeting or anyone in the meeting who does not have the floor, could you please make sure to mute yourselves? I just want to make sure we've got as clear of possibilities to hear each other as possible. Thank you very much. Commissioner Russ, please continue.
Yeah, no, I think, probably what we should do, Chair, is to go ahead and pass this and then discuss if there are some tweaks to this. Moving El Cajon into D4 is not a tweak. That is not a tweak by any means, but moving Rancho San Diego is a bit of a tweak. So I'll tell you what, I'll suspend my comments until we pass the motion that's on the floor. I'm sorry, sir.
Well, thank you for that, but I want to ask counsel here. Are we restricted on proposing amendments at this point from your view? Marguerite?
I'm here, Chair. I'm taking a look at the agenda language.
Yeah. And commissioners, the reason I'm asking this is, while I have thoughts on this is the kind of decision I want to make sure you as commissioners and the public are aware of what council's advice is. The background to the question, the context of the question is about Rancho San Diego, including the variety of public input we've had, as well as the fact that community of interest and input is a statutory criterion, but not the sole statutory criterion. And I think Commissioner Russ has summarized some of that as well. Again, I'm not trying to take a side on this. I want to make sure the commission is aware of where we are in procedure and to make sure we've got procedure working for us in substance, because in the end, the substance is, of course, much more
If you
important.
did a straw
Marguerite?
poll on Rancho San Diego.
I may, Commissioner Chen, but first let me take council's advice on this procedurally and then move from there.
Yeah, Chair, we purposely drafted this to be broad. And it says election and selection of final working draft map. We know what that is, or the final working draft map is amended. So we are not limited to either as amended in 2 or as amended in 3B. So if there are additional amendments, I think they're acceptable under this item.
Very good. And commissioners, one of the reasons I'm asking for this, because I want to respect the importance of how any such change relates to the entire county map, is that if needed, along the very respectful conversation that Commissioners Russ and Pons just had, we could take up an unfriendly amendment, and I would do it for the same reason it was unfriendly before. That's just a procedural label, to allow a more fulsome debate, but limited, focused on Rancho San Diego. Regardless of the outcome of that debate, we would then come back to the full motion and have a discussion to ensure we've accounted for how that relates to the rest of the county. That's the process I'm proposing. Now, I've already talked enough. I will be looking for a motion and a second in just a moment, but Commissioners Hanson and Brown in particular have been very patient. I'm going to give them the floor first, and then I'll turn to whether there's a motion to offer. Commissioner Hanson.
One thing that all of the speakers who wanted to talk about this region of the county had in common was the belief that we should not split El Cajon and Rancho. It's not Rancho Santa Fe, it's Rancho San Diego, which is what the area we're talking about. We have also seen emerge a horrible split between two very legitimate and competing interests over our attention. And I think that by agreeing to put Rancho San Diego and El Cajon together, whether it is in District 4 or District 2, we go a long way to heal some of the disharmony that has shown up here. And then we look at where we can put those two together in either District 2 or District 4 based on the other consequences. But I want to heal this hurt that has emerged over the last, certainly today and yesterday or Friday or whenever it was before. And we need to heal that because we've caused that by saying it has to be one or the other. So I would be willing to cast a motion or an amendment that we decide to amend our map, which is now we're calling 3B, to put those two, El Cajon and Rancho San Diego, together in whichever final decision we make.
Thank you. Commissioner Hanson, with respect, let me hold on that for a moment. Let me turn to Commissioner Brown, as I said I would, and then we'll come back to this discussion for just a moment. And I'll beg Co-Vice Chair Garcia's indulgence and patience as well. Commissioner Brown.
Well, I definitely like the idea that Commissioner Russ proposed, that we keep Rancho San Diego and together with El Cajon, same for Commissioner Hanson. And I believe, though, that they belong in District 2. I don't know that it's going to even be possible to move them into District 4. We'd have to shuffle a lot more of the map around just to get them in there. There was one other little area that I wanted to propose also, and I don't know if I do it here or if you just do it as a cleanup. We had people talking to us about Elfin Forest and Harmony Grove. Harmony Grove is in District 3, I think. Is that District 3 where Rancho Santa Fe is? And it sounded like Elfin Forest wanted to be in the same district with them. And that's a total of 600 people that would come out of District 5 and go into District 3. So we'd almost even out the Borrego Springs addition that we had. So I don't know if I can make that proposal as part of this or after the fact. When does it go in?
I would like to take one at a time to allow to focus on it. Commissioner Inman, did you want to speak about that from a more technical SPOC point of view?
Right now, Elfin Forest and Harmony Grove are in the same district. They are combined. They are combined, so they're not separated. That was most of the comment was thank you for combining them together in the same Central Coastal District. So that's a non-issue, if I may. So if you look at
Just to clarify for benefit of the public, right now they are together in District 3, which has been known in times as the Coastal District.
And that's
Correct.
fine. To me, it appeared
Correct.
as though Elfin Forest was still in District 5. So that's
Yeah.
fine. If they're already there, then done deal.
Yeah, they're there.
Okay, and just for the record, that's, I more than appreciate the public comment on that and can understand how it's a little challenging sometimes to keep up with our work, especially when we're meeting at 1:30 in the morning. That's all right. Thank you for the clarifications. I do want to offer one more point regarding Commissioner Hansen's comments. For me, the intensity of the commentary has been that people care. I don't know if I would say anyone caused it. It's people expressing themselves. But I strongly agree with you, Commissioner Hansen. I would speculate the entire commission does, that those kind of hurtful feelings need to be healed wherever they may be. And I thought you said it very eloquently, and I wanted to compliment you for that. All right. Procedurally, I think it's going to be simpler if we have an amendment offered that places Rancho San Diego, if the idea is to move Rancho San Diego from its current location in 3B to move it somewhere, the motion could be framed as to keep El Cajon and Rancho San Diego together in, but I would hesitate, Commissioner Hansen, I don't mean this with any disrespect, I mean it procedurally. I'd hesitate to pass a motion that simply said we're going to keep them together, because then we're going to have another discussion that I would rather have together on where they should be. So I'm confident that point will come out, but I'd request, with the commission's permission, a motion that would direct both, if that's the intent, that would direct both those communities along the lines of what Commissioner Russ was saying into one district or another. Okay.
I can do that. And
Okay.
I am proposing that they be in District 2.
Okay, so the motion from Commissioner Hansen, let me just see if I can recap it. And if it's okay, staff, I'll ask you to put it up there. Commissioner Hansen, do you want me to read what I understand, or do you want to say it?
I can say it.
Please do.
I move that we amend the current map to move Rancho San Diego into District 2 and keeping it with the city of El Cajon.
Very good. Okay.
Smart.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Chair Bame.
No, please, Marguerite. I was about to turn to you.
I'm wondering that this language is fine. I'm wondering if we could relate it to the final working draft map so we stay within the agenda item and say further amend.
Or could we simply, the motion on the floor at the moment is the amended final working draft map. So if we change the word current to, oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah, I want to relate it to the language.
Okay,
in
very
the
good. Yeah,
agenda
that makes,
item.
I see what you mean procedurally. And again, apologies, commissioners in public, but it's important that we have this right.
So point of order, so since the agenda is listed as either or, either the working final draft map or this amended version of the final working draft map, does that mean that if one fails, then the other is moves forward? How does that work?
It's an excellent question, Commissioner Diaz. What we're talking about at the moment is the amendment to the amended final working draft map, i.e., will this amendment take effect to the map that was earlier known as scenario 3B? Once this amendment is decided, we have a motion on the floor to adopt the amended final working draft map 3B, as I explained, as the final plan. The exact wording is what I used earlier. And that is the motion on the floor. If that motion passed, that becomes the final plan. If it fails, we then return to a possible vote on another version that could include the final working draft map. Now, before I go any farther, I want to check with council and, if needed, clerk. Is that a correct assertion of the process where we are?
Yeah, I agree that's where we are. And I want David to confirm, we have a main motion on the floor and we're just doing amendments, right?
Yes, I agree. And as a secondary point, I would advise you to get a second on motions to amend.
Very good. So now that we've got this amendment, is there a second to this amendment? Commissioner Brown, thank you very much. So it's moved by Commissioner Hanson and seconded by Commissioner Brown. As we said, commissioners, I'm going to just declare that we're treating this as an unfriendly amendment in order to be able to discuss it. And we will now take speakers on that. Co-Vice Chair Garcia, who's been very patient. And then Commissioner Brown, I'll take you next unless I see another hand of someone who hasn't spoken on this item, including Commissioner Diaz, who just put her hand up. Commissioners, do you have this motion clear enough that we can take it off the screen? Very good. Staff, I'll ask you to remove it so that I can track hands just a tiny bit better. Thank you. So it'll be Co-Vice Chair Garcia, Commissioner Diaz, Commissioner Brown. Co-Vice Chair Garcia, thanks for your patience.
Yes, thank you. So we moved El Cajon into District 2. It had been in District 4 for some time, and we received, I'm just trying to understand, we received a lot of public comment. And the way I see it is that we have two COIs who describe their community, both of them with El Cajon and Rancho San Diego in them. And we heard a lot from the Black community that said that in the previous version 11, that they had actually been split into 3 districts. And so I view what we're doing here, and I understand it's very difficult, but moving out, but we also heard a lot of, like, as you said, impassioned testimony about El Cajon being the gateway to the East County, the capital of East County, that's its historic ties. So I view this as a bit of a compromise, but I guess my question might be for council. I'm trying to understand, when we have these two competing COIs and they are both saying you're splitting us, and we're trying to attend to both of those communities, we're trying to do the best that we can. And I think the current version that we're looking at, 13B3, 3B, I'm sorry, I'm getting a little punchy. You know, I think is trying to respond to that COI input that we heard from African American, the Black community and the BIPOC community, at the same time trying to respond to voices that we heard from East County. How do we, is this a good legal, I guess, is it okay for me to ask legally, like, how do we weigh these, how do we weigh these competing protected communities? And is this I don't know, can you tell us, is this a good job that we're doing? I'm sorry, I don't mean to put you on the spot.
By the way, I think you're doing a great job. The discussion is thorough. It's based on testimony, based on facts that have been provided by your experts. So I think you're doing a great job. This is the hardest part of the job, and that is the need to exercise your discretion. And what comes to the community is letting them know how you thought about this. So in this area we're talking about now, you have actually 3 competing, maybe even 4 competing communities of interest. You have the integrity of East County, which operates through El Cajon. You have the integrity of the Chaldean community that overlaps with the integrity of the refugee and new immigrant community. And on top of that, we have a historical Black community in this area that is unified in these areas separately And right now, for population purposes, is included in the BIPOC community. And, you know, not to complicate things, we have a suggestion, a splitting the baby suggestion, which is in the area of Rancho San Diego, around St. Peter's. So these are all legitimate interests. We have had our experts tell us that we do not have Section 2 problems here. And I see one of our expert with us, so I'm not going to, hello, Bruce. I'm not going to speak in his area, but this is where you weigh and balance and make sure that the record is clear about the choices you are making and to what you are responding. It's not necessarily indicating that you disrespect a different point of view. You just can't do it all. It's not possible. So I am uncritical of the conversation. I am supportive of the continued conversation and the eventual vote. Bruce, do you want to add here?
Thank you, Marguerite, and thank you, Commissioner, for that question. And I certainly agree. I think it is very common in redistricting, as you are at the point that you are now, where your colleagues around the country and you face a very difficult decision that involves a lot of balancing. I completely agree with my colleague about the discussion and the creating a record and explaining what it is you're deciding. And I certainly encourage and applaud the continued conversation as you evaluate how you're going to move forward. And yes, speaking to what Commissioner Hanson said earlier, yeah, the comments have been quite affecting the last couple of days, and there's a lot of emotion and a lot of people feel very strongly. But as we know, a lot of people feel strongly generally about redistricting. So again, I agree with my colleague 100,000,000%. Your process is really good. The discussion is really good. Creating a clear record, explaining why you decide what you decide is really important. So I applaud what you're doing, and I certainly encourage you to continue doing so. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I just want to say that it is certainly not my intention to, I'm not intending to split any community. I'm trying to, what I heard is that El Cajon seems to be the linchpin for the East County, which is why I'm prepared to move them to move that city back into District 2. And at the same time, I also heard very loudly and clearly from the Black community that they felt that it was that they wanted their community, which they thought had been split into 3 districts, back together. And I think that Rancho San Diego, what we're doing responds to that. And I know it's a compromise, but I'd just like to go on record making those points. Thank you.
Just a heads up, David, I'm dropping out at 5 o'clock. If we get some votes, that'd be great, but otherwise I understand.
I understand, Commissioner Chen. I appreciate you speaking up about that. Very briefly, I'm going to ask Flo, not that I don't trust Commissioner Russ's math, but I would like Flo to, with the commission's permission, to do a quick analysis of this amendment that we're proposing and what, in particular, what the population figures might be like. Again, with due respect to Co-Vice Chair Garcia's eloquent remarks, we have several statutory criteria, and I want to make sure the commission has all the information we can get in front of it. While we're waiting for that, Commissioner Diaz.
I'll defer to Commissioner Brown.
Thank you, Commissioner Brown.
Thank you. I think it is important that we keep Rancho San Diego with El Cajon, and that for months now, we've also been hearing that El Cajon is quite tied to Santee, Lakeside, even as far out as Alpine. So they're an East County city, and they should stay in where is it, D2 if they can. Anyhow, that's the way I view it. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Commissioner Pons is next on the list, but Commissioner Chen, I wanted to just flag for you. I will be happy to give you the floor sometime in the next few minutes if you have any comments you want to offer, at least for commissioners to have in mind. Do you want to do that right now?
I'm just going to say, I think most of us know where we stand anyways. I don't think we're changing anybody else's minds, but that would just be my opinion.
Thank you for that. Commissioner Pons.
Concur with Commissioner Chen, but I do want to say this, that the word healing is an emotionally charged term, and that emotion has been amplified by the recent testimony. However, that amplification, in my perspective, should not drive the decision in this discussion, because the amplification and repeated use of the positions over the last 2 days, it should not drive the decision in this discussion, because the emotional commitment by other communities of interest have been just as passionate as the ones we've heard over the last 3 days. So last in is not the first up, and it shouldn't dictate the tone and the tenor of what we're about to decide on, period.
Thank you, Commissioner. I have Commissioners Diaz, Serban, and Dostal, and then Commissioner Brown. I do want to, well, we'll go from that. Commissioner Diaz.
Yes, I think I've been pretty consistent with my position throughout in recognizing the unique character of El Cajon and how it's changing demographically, especially with our newer refugee populations. And I can attest to that the two nodes, receiving nodes of refugee communities has historically been City Heights and El Cajon. I understand our difficult job of trying to balance population, but I wanted to go back to our summary statements that we all had agreed on as guiding principles for creating what is now known as 13A V11. And had I had the opportunity to suggest some amendments to that map in another form of a scenario, that I think that would work, that would actually take out Claremont and put it back into the coastal district. I think that might have been discussed, but I see that it's too late. And I know what we have to move forward. I know where I stand, and I'm not going to vote today. Thank you.
Thank you. I have Commissioner Dostal and then Commissioner Serban, but I also see John McKenzie's hand up, and with those speakers' permission, I'll turn to him. John.
Just wanted to say we have the map and stats ready of the Rancho San Diego change. So whenever is appropriate,
Please.
we can pull that up.
This is, I think, a good time. Please go ahead.
Very good. All right.
I'll just share my screen really briefly. I think we all know where we're talking about. This is the Rancho San Diego census designated place, putting it into D2 in the green. I can confirm Commissioner Russ's assessment. It doesn't change the overall deviation. It is a change between 2 and 4. So those 2 deviations decreasing it closer to 0, while 1 and 5 still drive the overall deviation.
John, you are correct. Those are exactly the same deviations that I got. I'm just checking your work, John.
You're checking Alex's work.
Okay. John and Alex, can we go down to the CVAP table, please? Thank you.
Wow.
Okay. Commissioners, I'm happy to leave that up or bring it back up. I think might be the easiest way. Commissioner Dostal.
Thank you. I agree with Commissioner Pons about, for me, it wasn't about numbers. and I've been hearing a little bit in today's discussion, like it's binary, either, you know, the refugee community and the Chaldean community and where they go. And those are certainly factors. However, my understanding of this map that Commissioner Pons, it was on his motion, Spring Valley, Paradise Hills, Casa Duro, San Diego, having nothing to do with El Cajon. El Cajon is a separate issue from this particular issue, was a community of interest to the Black community, the historical Black community in this area. So I just want to remind everybody about that. Rancho San Diego isn't just about keeping it with El Cajon or keeping it in East County or keeping it with the Chaldeans. Those are all factors. I think they're all legitimate. I know they're all legitimate factors that we have to weigh and consider. However, this map, it wasn't about East County or El Cajon and Rancho San Diego. It was about keeping Paradise Hills, Spring Valley, and Rancho San Diego together. And I'll just ask Commissioner Pons if that's accurate. Okay, thank you. So I would, I guess, not vote for this amendment to move Rancho San Diego for that reason.
Okay. Before I turn to Commissioner Serban, Commissioner Chen, since Commissioner Serban is the last speaker, can you stay long enough for his remarks and then a vote? Because I think we'll have a vote immediately after that.
Okay, that's fine. Great. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Commissioner Serban, please go ahead.
I'm still here. Yeah, thank you, Chair Bam. So I just will say that I'm not in favor of this amendment. I agree completely with what Commissioner Dostal just said. I think that, again, the more correct alignment for me would be to have El Cajon in this central district. And I'd be happy to extend our deliberations or consider that as, or, you know, revisit our timeline if needed to consider what it would take to do that. I think that, you know, this idea of El Cajon as a city in transition, that's wrong. I mean, El Cajon is past transition. It's already changed. It's already a place, a city of immigrants and refugees and new Americans. I mean, it's the first place in San Diego I lived when I came to San Diego, and that was 40 years ago. So we're not just recognizing the changing face of El Cajon. We're recognizing the changed face of El Cajon, and so I think that's why, to me, I'd like to see El Cajon in the central district, and I'm willing to talk about how to get there.
Thank you. We'll be moving to a vote in a minute, but John, you wanted to add one more thing?
Yeah, if I can, I'd like to ask Alex to pull up his screen and just show something with the move with Rancho San Diego, just given how close we are. I know Marguerite is on the line. I just want to make sure I'm just trying to do everything we can before we vote on something. So if we could do this real quick, that I think would be helpful.
Yeah, John, I believe this is what you're talking about. And this is what Commissioner Inman just mentioned a while ago. We just couldn't, see it necessarily in the map until this change was made. So John, I think this is what you're referring to is when moving Rancho San Diego, the Casa de Oro Mount Helix CDP leaves us with this map.
And what I'm asking here is that I don't know if this has anything, will have an issue with compactness. I know that these things are okay when we are following municipal lines. I don't know how that relates to CDP lines. I just wanted to bring it up here with Marguerite in case there is an impact and because of how close we're getting to the end here.
Thank you very much. Marguerite, Bruce, any comment?
I appreciate this, but this, I see there's what do you call it, an isthmus there that doesn't look good. It does, however, follow established jurisdictional lines, one of them being El Cajon, and the other being the planning area of Rancho San Diego, or is there also a CDP?
Also a census designated place.
Also a census designated place. And the rationale is if if there is a decision to do this, the rationale is a community of interest rationale. In my view, and I'll defer to Bruce. Bruce, are you still with us?
Oh, I'm here, Marguerite.
Okay, great. If this move is made, I don't think your plan is vulnerable because of this configuration.
I agree. I agree with many of the points that Marguerite made. I think that initially, I mean, I think it doesn't look good either, just visually. However, the justifications that Marguerite explained, that this is to unite communities of interest. So I'm not hearing any justification that's race-based that would support a racial gerrymander claim. So that does weigh against the physical appearance of the district. So given that justification, I agree that I think that is a sustainable defense if that's challenged as a racial gerrymander.
Yeah, but Chair, could I ask John to bring that back up? I do have one question.
Please.
John, what is the area in purple above the Rancho San Diego area? Yeah, not there, to the east. To the east.
Alex, the part that's cut off. So it's part of the Casa de Oro Mount Helix.
Oh, so that's just the neighboring.
That's just
That might be
planning
Mount Hill.
area. Yeah.
It's just the neighboring planning area, right? Okay, there
Yep.
you go. All right. Okay. I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Diaz for a new comment, I assume.
Yes, as we're looking at the boundaries, I just wanted clarification on Avocado Avenue, and that was mentioned during the public comment as a potential compromise, I guess. That was mentioned by one of the Chaldean members. And I also want to note that St. Peter's Catholic Church is in Rancho San Diego. And I just wanted to confirm that the map includes whatever you're putting in District 2 if we're going this direction.
John, Alex, can you map that in Alvarado Avenue? I assume was very easy to pull up.
Avocado Avenue, it's called.
Right. And St. Peter's, I believe, is in some of the papers that you've already received. Are both of those something you can bring up relatively quickly?
Perhaps at least I can just point out.
Alex, I can navigate you.
Sure. I mean, I know that this is Avocado Ave right here. So it's
on Hamishaw. It's on Hamishaw Way.
Yep. And
right.
Yeah, it's so which is 54. So it's actually going to be, according to my map, it is in Rancho San Diego.
Mm-hmm. That's what they say.
Yeah, it's Alex, it's just south of Macho Way. It's in
1627 Hamishaw. I don't know if you have the numbers there.
If you go up, go up here, right? It's sort of just southwest of the words Rancho San Diego in this map. Just south, a little south into the east there. Just if you go directly east, just a little bit. Yeah, it's like right on that road. It's right there. You were just on it. See that? Yeah, there it is. Yeah, it's right there. The St. Peter's Chaldean Catholic Church.
Squarely in Rancho San Diego, since it's designated place. Yeah.
Commissioner Krugliak.
I believe the suggestion was the east of the intersection between Avocado and Campo, which is quite farther west compared to where the church itself is, and is basically at the edge right now. It's almost the entirety of Rancho San Diego. So I don't think we're going to be gaining much if that is in fact what the suggestion was. And either way, I don't think that it's going to be changing, to Commissioner Chen's point, I don't think it's going to be changing the vote that we're hopefully going to take shortly. So because Commissioner Chen has to leave, I think we're ready to vote.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, though, for the clarification to save the time. Commissioners, I do want to record for the record that I will be voting on the basis of my best evaluation of all the statutory criteria that are applicable to our work. With that, no other requests for the floor. John, you didn't need to say anything else, did you? Good. David, would you please call the roll for a vote?
Yes, and again, for clarification, this is the amendment to move Rancho San Diego to District 2. Commissioner Krugliak,
No.
Commissioner Serbin, Commissioner Serbin,
No, sorry, no.
Commissioner Hanson, Commissioner Hanson, you're muted.
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Larson,
No.
Commissioner Pons,
No.
Co-Vice Chair Katerina. Is she present? She may be absent.
She's absent. Please go ahead.
Chair Bame,
Yes?
Commissioner Dostal,
No.
Co-Vice Chair Garcia,
Nay.
Commissioner Inman,
No.
Commissioner Russ,
Yes.
Commissioner Diaz,
No.
Commissioner Chen.
Yes.
The motion fails to achieve the required affirmative vote. You have Commissioners Hanson, Brown, Bame, Russ, and Chen voting aye. All other commissioners who are present voting no. The vote is 5 affirmative, 8 negative.
Very good. Thank you, commissioners, very much for that. We can continue discussion of the main motion before us. We are at 5:08 p.m. So I will entertain, especially anyone who has not spoken on the main motion, or if there are no requests for the floor, I'm happy to move to a vote.
Can we repeat the main motion, please?
I'll ask staff to bring it up, please. Okay, so I hope that's clear. Thank you, staff. I have Commissioner Serbin and then Commissioner Diaz. Commissioner Serbin.
Thank you, Chair. So to be clear, the amended version is the one that includes the changes that we looked at to Borrego and the Guajiro change in the North County. Is that true?
That is my understanding. Is the amended version of 3B that we voted on earlier. Marguerite?
Okay.
I thought our motion had a little more detail in it.
I thought so too, and I was going to ask.
Yeah, I think we should be specific about.
This
Barbara?
is Barbara. Yes, sorry. Marguerite, would you like us to bring us what we posted on the website a while ago, which was voted on earlier?
No, I think, Marguerite, are you referring to the motion on the floor, the motion that was passed originally with?
Oh, I see. So the motion on the floor, can I see that again?
Yes.
Please.
Okay, so the one that was passed earlier, but does this one include Borrego Springs or was it the other one?
This includes.
I'd be specific about what this means as presented by Flow Analytics. I don't think.
As the seconder, no, this included Borrego Springs and Ocotillo Wells. Is that your understanding, Commissioner Inman?
That's correct. It's the motion that we voted on just before we went into public testimony.
That's what I seconded. That's correct.
Yes.
Because I thought we had some language in here about further amendment.
I think we worked through those, didn't we? That was just the unfriendly amendment that I was so unfriendly to amend.
Yeah. So this would be the amended version. So the prior motion was this, and this is the amended version. I just don't like the language as presented by Flow Analytics.
Yeah.
Right.
What
Me
I would
neither.
suggest, is a version 3 Bravo with the inclusion of Borrego and Ocotillo Wells into District 5.
But that's in the motion below.
Marguerite, I think what's going on here is the agenda item we're under right now is discussion and selection of the final working draft map or final working draft map as amended for adoption as the 2021 redistricting plan for the County of San Diego Board of Supervisors.
Okay, so, and that includes all of these amendments. I mean, is everybody satisfied that it's clear? So the on the motion below, those are all the amendments.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That bottom one does include the.
Okay, so we are then.
Yeah, Borrego. Yeah. No, that's right. Okay, it did. Yeah.
Okay, good. So that has become the final working draft map as amended, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Then I'm fine.
Can I jump in here? Sorry, this is John.
Please. And Commissioner Serbin, and just before you do, Commissioner Serbin, I appreciate your patience. I will come back to you. John, please go ahead.
Just a technical thing. When we were doing the review of this amended version during the public comment period, Alex discovered there is an inevitable split between the North Mountain Empire and the desert planning area. And it has a very minimal effect on population, but it may very well affect the motion and how you want to write it with the amendment. If this is the right time to do that, I think we should bring up the screen so you can see what that is and have that change made before voting on it. If there is another time to do that, that makes more sense. More than happy to do that. I just didn't want to have you vote on that before making that amendment if that's going to cause issues down the line.
Sure, thank you for that. At this point, I'd like to let Commissioner Serbin finish his turn on the floor and then turn to that. But if that's okay, and if we don't need this on the screen at the moment, Commissioner Serbin, please go ahead.
Thank you, Chair Boehm. I just wanted to ask if we could look at the map, especially the north, that Borrego part, please.
Okay, so we will, commissioners, as that map comes up, we will address Commissioner Serbin's point, and then I'll turn the floor to John to explain in sufficient detail the concern he was mentioning. Commissioner Serbin, you still have the floor when you're ready.
Sorry, just
Oh no, that was it.
some things.
Yeah,
I just want to.
Yeah, sorry, Alex, go ahead. You're good to go. I just wanted to see the map. Thank you.
Okay.
So with that, John, please go ahead.
Okay, I'll take
Or
this.
Alex,
It's a very minute thing, so I just want to show. So in the motion, it says to move the Desert and Borrego Springs community plan areas to D5 in red. Based on geography, there are a couple, and blocks too, that I have highlighted right here that are their center is in the Desert Community Plan area. So they would be included in this change. This one actually had bigger one geographically had 0 population. This very small one in a valley has 6. Doing so, you can see would make, because it's like an island, because this block is actually mostly in Mountain Empire. So moving those 2 that I originally had highlighted would make District 5 discontiguous. Without also moving this, but moving this would split Mountain Empire. So simply put, you can't, one of these community plan areas, Desert or Mountain Empire will be split in our normal PDF table. And the least amount of population to be split would be to have desert listed as being very, very partially split between District 5 and District 2. The vast majority, 99%, would be in District 5. I just wanted to be clear, and maybe John's point is the motion might say move Borrego Springs and Desert to the extent possible into District 5.
Let me
And this
turn
is
to
a great example of why we need time to get all this stuff done, because we catch these sorts of things.
Of course, and it's appreciated. Commissioner Inman is SPOC, please.
Yes, so if I understand you, then this means that the 2020 census blocks don't follow the community planning district boundary. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And so that's why you need to make this change.
Right. Because yes, exactly. I mean, this is a perfect example. This block right here that I'm highlighting is, very large, and it straddles Mountain Empire to the south and Desert to the north. So most of the time they match boundaries pretty well, but in no place are they completely coincident. So when deciding, geographically, is this block part of Desert or part of Mountain Empire, this one is, the majority is in Mountain Empire, so that's what it's tagged as. So it's just, yeah, sorry if that's clear.
Okay. That was just my question. Thank you.
Thank you, and it's useful to see. I'll take just a moment more on this. For a task council, do we need to be explicitly precise about such a change, or can we cover it in something like as administratively required or something along that line?
So right now we moved, I don't want to end up with a plan that's discontiguous. So what Alex is pointing out, I believe, is that our plan splits Mountain Empire, right?
Or
Actually, I would suggest that it would split Desert. Basically, we would not change the two blocks that are currently part of District 2. We wouldn't move them into District 5. So these two blocks would be part of District 2. And they are part of Desert, therefore splitting Desert very minutely.
Okay, but the alternative is to end up with a discontiguous plan.
Right. Or and splitting Mountain Empire. And so neither, yeah.
Yeah. This affects the boundary, Chair. I think that the commission ought to make the call. And I would make the call that affects the fewest people.
So I will ask the sponsors of this main motion, Commissioner Inman and Commissioner Russ, to consider language to that effect and come back to us so that it could be considered as a friendly amendment, assuming there's no objection. Commissioner Dustal, I'm sorry.
I just had a suggestion on how we might fix it. That we say the motion is as it was, like keeping Desert community plan to the extent it maintains the Mountain Empire, something like that. Just saying like, however, but not if it's going to break up Mountain Empire. Does that make sense? So I think it was called Desert Community Plan in District 5 to the extent, but maintaining Mountain Empire to the extent it doesn't split up Mountain Empire planning area.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Commissioner Inman and Commissioner Russ, do you want to talk about this now and work it out, or do you want to work on it on the side while we continue discussion?
I mean, I think we can resolve it, and Commissioner Dostal's language does it. Yeah. Or the other way we could do it is using impact the minimum population, which I think get us to the same answer. I prefer the notion of impacting the fewest population as a better criteria.
Okay. Let's stay with this. Could we have the motion on the screen again, please? Very good. Okay.
If you combine those two, I think that says it, doesn't it? It's actually redundant, isn't it?
Can we scroll up a little bit?
Yeah. Not too much. Okay. District 5 Commission improvement. Does it right?
Bless you.
Again, why couldn't we combine those?
I'm not sure what you're talking about, Commissioner Russ.
Well, the friendly amendment or
Okay,
like a motion.
I'm sorry. Let me get this as short as possible. The second motion that begins on motion of Commissioner Inman, that's already been adopted.
That's
That is what is referred
Yeah, that's in
to
there. Yeah. Okay.
by the once amended version. Yeah.
That's right.
Okay. Okay, so all we need right now is language in the first motion that captures either along the lines of what Commissioner Dostal or Commissioner Inman said, the slight conundrum with desert or mountain empire. And if I understood Commissioner Inman's language, there's a way to do that using minimal population impact or something to that effect.
Mhm.
So Commissioner Inman, do you have language for that first sentence that would work, or taking up Commissioner Dostal's?
Alex, how is that how you would state it? That shifts the fewest population?
I
Does
think
that-
what Commissioner Dostal said makes the most sense for us.
Okay, that's fine with me then, please.
So Commissioner Dostal, could you provide it once more? I apologize for not having the screen up the first time.
You're muted.
You're muted at the moment. Thank you.
Sorry, while maintaining the Mountain Empire, whatever it's called, planning district. I'm not exactly sure what it's called.
Yep, maintaining Mountain Empire Community Plan area.
Do we still need the Borrego and Ocotillo Wells language in here since it is below?
Excuse me. I don't think so because it's covered by the word amended, correct?
Right.
And so I would put, but amending it to maintain, because we are amending it to maintain, right? Because the way it was originally written, it split up the Mountain Empire community.
So
we
to maintain rather than and maintaining.
So we'll end up with a split of desert, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
All right. Just so long as everybody.
Okay.
And up above it, the final working draft map scenario 3B is, oh, the amended version. Okay, no problems. Okay.
Okay. And then we may need to add the language from the agenda in a little bit, but let's take that up later. I just want to come back to that after we get through any other discussion. So we, commissioners, any other questions about this language before we take it down? Very good. Thank you. Staff, you can take it off the screen. All right.
So, sorry, just so I understand what we're voting on. Scenario 3B. With the changes that were made for the plan areas for Borrego and Ocotillo. That's it.
And Valley Center Fire District.
I'm sorry?
Valley Center Fire District was part of the earlier amendments.
Thank you, Commissioner Sherman.
Thank you, Chair Bim. So after we vote on this, are we, assuming it passes and we're now on this map, is that it? Are we done with this map, or are we then going to engage in further conversation on how to refine this map? When are we done?
Yeah,
talking about this thing.
A vote on this motion will constitute adopting the map. And then the only further discussion of it would be if there were requirements during the full review that John described the next time we see it, and when we do the adoption of the resolution, which I believe, Marguerite, do we have that on the agenda for today? I believe.
No.
not, correct?
We tabled it. We tabled what, 3 or 4 matters, and
Right.
the recommendation is we bring those back on the 14th.
So the realistic effect, to be plain about it, Commissioner Servin, and it's a good question, and it's one we should say in front of the public. A vote to approve the current motion would be to approve this map. And then on Tuesday, all other things being equal, the only changes or amendments we would consider, and I would flag this before we actually had a vote, would be in the technical or administrative area, or if one of our other consultants found some problem that required commissioner attention. But in effect, we would not be discussing further refinements. Any further refinements, if I'm understanding your use of the word correctly, ought to happen now via amendment. And I have no other commissioners requesting the floor. So I will certainly, given the importance of this decision, entertain a proposal for an amendment if needed. But right now I have no other commissioners requesting the floor.
So final.
Except for the technical or consultant possibilities that I mentioned. Yes.
Okay, we really mean it this time.
Yep, Commissioner Diaz.
I think this would be unpopular, but I'll withdraw, but
Commissioner, it is not a popularity contest. If you need to say it, it is perfectly appropriate to say it. I'm sure other commissioners will respect that. And it falls in the category of explaining rationales and thinking. We need to document and make that clear on the record. So please don't hesitate on the basis of popularity.
I was suggesting looking at the boundary of the municipality of El Cajon, and I'm trying to zoom in on it, but I was thinking there could be a compromise there, but probably not. I've seen previous maps that have split the city.
Given the time, Commissioner Diaz, what I'll propose is we'll bring up the map. No, I want to give you an opportunity to offer a motion, but I do have to have a motion to discuss it. Commissioner Diaz?
At this point, it would be, I appreciate you giving me the floor, but at this point, I just don't think there's enough time, and it would require discussion on population changes and moving that around. So, yeah,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Before we proceed, I want to be fair, and it's an important concept, and it's not necessarily contradictory to what's already been discussed. Commissioners, could I have a show of hands for those who would like to explore this for just a short time further to see if there's something worth considering? My sense is the sense of the commission is to move on. But are there any other commissioners in favor of taking this up ahead of a possible amendment? Seeing none, Commissioner Diaz, I do appreciate your flexibility and your willingness to listen. I'll move on from there. Thank you. Commissioner Servin.
Thank you, Chair Bim. Recognizing the importance of this vote, and we've had in the past precedent for doing this, I would beg the chair's indulgence in allowing commissioners who might want couple seconds to decide to sort of explain why they're voting the way they're voting. I'd be interested to hear that myself, and I think it would be a good thing to do for the public in telling, maintaining our the commitment to our mission.
I think it's a very valid point. I do want to make sure the commission's okay with it, but as we've heard on numerous occasions, the more we can explain our reasons for doing things, the better. And we have, thanks to Flow Analytics flexibility, our demographers' flexibility, we do have the time for such a discussion with some ideas ahead. Shall we treat this, and I'll just ask for a straw poll, as voluntary statements of 1 minute or less? Will that be sufficient for commissioners? Any objection? I'm sorry. Okay, let me ask this way. Any objection to doing that? Very good. So any commissioners, please raise your hand. Commissioner Serban, I'm assuming you'd like to do that?
Yeah, but I don't have to go first.
No, I want to see if there are others who want to speak. Commissioner Inman, and I really would encourage this as strongly as possible. I may actually take the floor because I haven't said much about my rationale for these things, but commissioners, this is important to our work. It really is, and it's important for the public to hear it. So Commissioner Inman, then Commissioner Serban.
I want to thank the public first and foremost for the input, the time and effort that they've put into this. We've put in a lot of time and effort as well to represent and appropriately consider, evaluate, analyze, and make decisions based upon that massive amount of public testimony and comment. I know the public, it hasn't been easy for them. I will tell you, it hasn't been easy for us. These are hard decisions, and we don't make these decisions lightly. After a lot of contemplation and a lot of thinking, a lot of analysis, this brings me now through a full over a year of work, effort, education. I've learned so much. I've come to fully respect this commission. And I consider all of you good and steadfast friends actually now, even though we haven't gotten together so often. We've created our own community of interest, if you will, in this process, but we are at a point now where we have to make a decision. I'm happy with the decision that, that I know I am going to make when I vote in favor of this map as we've come to at this time. And I thank the public and my fellow commissioners. That's my statement. Thank you, Chairman. I'll miss all of you if I don't get to see you every other day. My wife won't miss you, but I'll miss you.
And I'll remind commissioners, we are meeting Tuesday. But thank you for that. Commissioners, well, Commissioner Serban, are you ready now?
He's not even on there.
Commissioner
Oh, I'm
Serban,
sorry, I was muted. I'm sorry. I prefer to listen to my colleagues first.
All right, very well. Commissioner Brown.
Okay, I ditto all of that was just said. I think we've done a wonderful job. We had definite requirements that we had to meet. We took into consideration thousands and thousands of comments on COIs and tried to weigh them all out. And I think we did a heck of a job with that. So we're never going to be 100% perfect with it. We're not going to satisfy every single person that's in San Diego County, but I think we're doing a pretty close job to satisfying quite a few of those, probably 99% of them. But anyhow, it's been a great experience with everybody. Wish happy birthday to David, and I think we ought to continue with this and get the map going.
Thank you, Commissioner. As someone said, it's not the age, it's the mileage. Commissioner Dostal.
Thank you, Chair Boehm. As far as summary that Commissioner Serban requested, the summary is it has been based on all, I'm voting for this map. I got here based on all the community input, as well as all our legal requirements, and balancing where there are numerous communities of interest have opposing interests in the same exact area, being in one district or the other. And so it was a balancing. It's what we had to do. We had to use our discernment to just figure out, and it was a step-by-step process. So I can't say there was one thing, because at the beginning of this meeting, Commissioner Inman very eloquently put why we were starting here. And I said, I agree with that. So, it's a step-by-step process. So I can't say here now, it was this thing. It's all the communities of interest who commented, all the letters we received, all our legal requirements. That's my reasoning. It was, so like I said, again, there isn't some succinct way to say, here's why this map, just that this map was balanced based on the whole process, step-by-step that we got here. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Larson, then Co-Vice Chair Garcia.
Well, I want to tell the public that the 14 of us were selected to represent you, the public. It's been a challenge. We're the first in, I think, a series of people doing this every 10 years for the next future. But we've had to learn how to do it. We've had to learn a lot about the county and what the people want. So I want to thank the public for letting us know what they think and what they want. And boy, have we gotten it. But I think we've got it now. All in all, we've given a very good solution to the puzzle that's been given us. And it's been put together now. It's not the perfect answer, but the puzzle works. So I'm very happy with the decision, which I think we're going to be making right now with this vote. So thanks for all my fellow commissioners. And I also hope we're all friends as this goes on, and we'll see each other and get together more than just next Tuesday. Thank you.
I have co-vice chair. Thank you. I have co-vice chair Garcia and then Commissioner Sherman.
Yes, I will try not to repeat any of my previous colleague comments because I agree with them all. I would like to say that, I would like to thank the public, and I would also like to probably point out that I don't think any of us knew when we sent in our applications how absolutely time-consuming and intense this process, our obligation was going to be. It has been quite time-consuming, quite intense, quite, at some points overwhelming, and quite consuming of our lives. So I don't regret it. I feel very happy that I was given this opportunity and this privilege, and certainly very happy to have worked with the 13 of you all and with staff and council. The flow, it's overall just been a tremendous learning process and very invigorating. This map is not perfect. But I'm glad that we took one last look. I pushed hard for that in the last meeting. I made some proposed changes. This map doesn't reflect some of the things that I would have liked to have happen, but I think that we have arrived at a good place. And I will say that I would have liked a map with a lower overall deviation. That's our first priority. But I'm pleased with where we are. And in fact, one last thing I'd like to point out is that on the list of criteria, the legal criteria that we had to uphold, number 4 on that list, so sort of the 4th most important criteria, was maintaining the integrity of cities, towns, communities of interest, and so forth. So we listened carefully, we paid attention, and we really tried, I think, to honor communities of interest because it was the 2 pieces of data that we had, the census data and the COI data. But in terms of our legal criteria, it was number 4. And yet we gave it much weight and consideration. And I know we didn't please everybody. I can tell you that you didn't please me. I'm not pleased 100% either, but I think I think it is a forward-looking map. And I hope it will serve the county well for the next decade. That would be my hope. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Sherman.
Thank you, Chair Boehm. Thank you to my colleagues on this commission. I am so grateful to have been able to serve alongside with all of you and to have learned from all of you and to just make these connections. You guys are so wonderful. One of the things that, and the other favorite part of this thing has been just to listen to the people of this county speak about their identities, about their communities, about their neighborhoods, and just how much pride there is in this county. And I'm thank you to this people of the County of San Diego for reminding me why I love this region so much. I am so encouraged by the languages, the diversity of the public comment. That was just so heartwarming. And I have to say, magandang gabi sa inyong lahat. Good evening, everyone, right? Like I love the language of this community. Thank you. This commission had an opportunity, I thought, to empower historically marginalized communities, and we almost got there. I think, this is probably as much as we can get. I'm a little saddened that this is where we're arriving at. It leaves me with the impression that it's almost like we snatched defeat from the jaws of victory, and we were almost there, but it's just I'm saddened that we just didn't have the courage to continue along that path. And again, thank you for allowing me the pleasure to serve alongside of you. And I just leave you with the words that an earlier commenter said, is that I hope that as we move forward, we can continue to dream together and work together to protect each of our communities. And with that, thank you. Salamat.
Thank you for that. Commissioner Russ.
Well, this is a textbook constrained optimization dynamic programming problem. This will be written up for years.
Commissioner Russ, I'm going to cut you. Never mind. Go ahead.
Well, somebody said perfect is the enemy of the good. I would say perfect is really almost unattainable, and can be the enemy of the very good or the excellent. I think we have an excellent piece of work. I think there have been compromises. I think that we've had the courage to address the hard issues and make the hard decisions. So you guys are 13 of my new BFFs, right? Best friends forever or something like that. And Chairman Boehm, even though you're a year older, you look about 5 years older since a year ago. But happy birthday.
Thank you for that.
I forgot to say go Navy.
With no other requests for the floor, although I do want to encourage it. If any other commissioners wish to speak, please. This is a good time to. Very good. I know the hour is late. I am not going to say my full thanks because I need to work on that. And I will do that on Tuesday or at our following meeting. With regard to the map, I'm going to do what I haven't done in quite a while. Admit that Commissioner Russ is still a lot smarter than me, and even then I'm disagreeing. I think a perfect solution could have been obtainable if we had not listened to the community. We did. And I want to be crystal clear about that. We have listened and listened and listened. And I mean that in the most active sense. We've had arguments about how much more to listen. We've had this meeting, which was not scheduled. And I do appreciate the chance to be together again, to be able to listen more. It really is important. And having been in so many places in the world where people don't listen, and when they do things because of their not listening that are hurtful. That's what I was getting at, Commissioner Pons. It wasn't as motivation for our work. It's the inspiration for our work, I think might be, but not the rationale. The rationale for me is actually fairly clear. And I think several commissioners captured it. It's the statutory criteria. And by that, I really do mean all the criteria and all the input. I'll be very direct. The input we had that we discussed today as part of, but not the sole factor regarding Rancho San Diego, for me was one more example of the conflicting input. And it is not a question of which community is right or has the better claim. It means within that criterion, there is something we need to use our discernment on and then apply it with respect to all the statutory criteria. Put another way, we listen, we think about it, we discuss. And I really am grateful to each and every one of you because it's been an honor to serve as a chair who's been able to learn so much from you and been able to act on it. It's one thing to learn I'm wrong about something. It's another thing to be able to correct it. And I really do feel that's been done. I'll have more at another time, but my thanks to you, my thanks especially to the public, and I will get around to thanking staff, council, consultants, and not least of all, clerk. Let me turn to David, please.
Oh, I'm waiting to be called for the vote. That's the only reason.
I thought you might be.
Happy
Very
birthday.
good. Okay, so before we move to the vote, and I do appreciate not giving staff, counselor, consultants the floor for just a moment. I assume they'll be with us on Tuesday, so we can have more discussion then. What I'd like to do at this moment is bring up the motion one more time, check with Marguerite on whether we need to bring language from the agenda into the motion itself, or whether this is sufficient.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure that we've tracked. So I would say approve the final working draft map scenario B as amended.
Let's pause a second, because I think, there we go. Thank you.
So that gets us pretty close as amended after the B. It's as amended, comma, and further amending to maintain the Mountain Empire Community Plan area. And I am good with that.
Very good. Thank you. David, let's leave it on the screen. Clerk call, I should really be using that phraseology. Does this meet your standards and requirements?
Yes, it does.
Very good. Not seeing any other requests for the floor, I will suggest we leave this up, and I'll ask the clerk to call the roll for a vote.
Thank you, Chair Bing. Co-Vice Chair Katerina, I believe, is absent. She'll correct me if she isn't. Commissioner Hanson.
Aye.
Co-Vice Chair Garcia.
Aye.
Chair Bing.
Aye.
Commissioner Russ.
Aye.
Commissioner Brown.
Aye.
Commissioner Inman.
Got it.
Aye.
Commissioner Larson.
Aye.
Commissioner Pons.
Aye.
Commissioner Krugliak.
Aye.
Commissioner Chen. Commissioner Chen is absent. Commissioner Dostal.
Aye.
Commissioner Diaz.
I abstain.
Commissioner Serban.
No.
Motion passes with Commissioner Diaz abstaining, Commissioner Serban voting no, all other commissioners who are present voting aye. There's 10 votes in favor, 1 vote in opposition, 1 abstention, and 1 absent.
Two absent.
Two
Two
absent.
absent. Thank you. 2 absent.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Russ. Very good. Can we take it down from the screen, please? And with that, John, please.
So, well, I'm going to say thank you too, because everybody else was doing it. So thank you to all the members of the commission as well as the public. We've enjoyed being part of this process too, even though I've had some very, very late evenings, as we all have. But also happy birthday, Chair Bam. And we really want to know before the meeting ends what we should call this map and all the materials we're going to be putting together tonight. So that's been something, if we could get that confirmed before too long so we can get rolling, that would be great.
I appreciate that. Marguerite, is it just the language that was in the motion in some sort of form?
Our agenda actually has language which reads adoption, discussion and selection of final working draft map as amended for adoption as the 2021 redistricting plan for the County of San Diego Board of Supervisors. What about 2021 redistricting plan for the County of San Diego Board of Supervisors? That's what you did.
And that's with the idea that should the map go forward as is, it has already got the right label on it for additional processing.
Yeah, now that you just voted, that's the agenda item you just voted on, the final plan. Now, John and Alex, who are extremely good, might show up on Monday with a technical glitch, just like the one we saw. I will agree that that can be amended, likely something like that. But this is the plan. It will be confirmed by resolution on the 14th. There's a number of us here that have a lot more work to do, which includes the final plan, the final reports. So we have work to do on Tuesday, but a suggestion is that your plan be called 2021 Redistricting Plan for the County of San Diego Board of Supervisors.
Is there any
there
objection to that language?
Any concern with that language?
Very good. I'm seeing none. Marguerite, thank you for that. Anything else, Marguerite, regarding this?
Well, I have some procedural, not regarding this, Chair Bay. We have some tabled items, and I think instruction to staff to bring them back on the 14th would be appropriate. I don't think we want to work anymore tonight unless I'm wrong.
I think you probably captured the commission's will on that. Barbara, just as long as we're on this, do you have what you need, at least for the moment?
Yeah, I turned on the camera just to ask that same question. Are we tabling everything to Tuesday so we can prepare the agenda? Thank you.
Barbara, could you remind us what we have, just so we don't make a mistake here? I know we have the final report, but we're working on that.
Correct. And we have the ABASD item, which the report was also already posted. And the final report. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's it.
Do we have a monthly budget update?
Yes, and that's already been, it wasn't a formal presentation, but the documents have already been submitted.
So we just have two additional items. So on the 14th, we'll have two resolutions, the plan and the final report, and then we'll just look at the final report of ABASD. All right.
And I want to have agendized the monthly budget update. And commissioners, as always, I'll work with the officer, staff, and council to make sure that agenda is correct. But please don't be surprised if we have to add anything else that we weren't able to discuss this evening. I have a hand from Commissioner Serban, and then I will likely move to adjournment. So I just want to let commissioners know that's what's coming. Commissioner Serban.
Thank you, Chair Bame. So I see that we still have 7 attendees who have their hands raised. I mean, I think we can spare 7 minutes to allow them to address the commission if so needed.
Commissioner, the challenge I have with that, and I do mean this with due respect to the public, is that we had other people, I'm sure, from the public who have departed. And in the sense of fairness, I would ask the people still remaining, whether their hands are up or not, to please provide comment in all the other channels outside of a meeting. I'd continue to encourage the public, as I will in a moment, to provide us additional comment. And I would request that commissioners be aware, I intend to have maximum time for public input on Tuesday, the 14th. Commissioner Brown. You're muted.
I'm sorry, my cursor is not moving where I want it to go. So I don't know if I missed something or what, but I don't remember. Did we do a vote to approve that final map, and did I vote for it?
Yes.
I'll confirm with the clerk, but yes, that motion we just had was the map to approve, was the vote to approve the map.
And
to
I
move
voted
forward to
yes.
the final plan. We still have to have a resolution, a vote on a resolution to formally approve it. That will be on Tuesday. But
Okay.
this map will not change unless there's some other technical or other requirement for the commissioner's attention.
And I voted yes, right?
You did.
You did.
All right. I didn't know if I was snoozing during part of that or what.
Perfectly.
All righty, thanks.
Vice Chair Garcia.
Good to know that I'm not the only one who loses track in a meeting from time to time. You're not alone, Commissioner Brown. Just wanted to confirm the start time of the meeting on the 14th. Is it still going to be 2 o'clock? And just wanted to double check that. Thank you.
Thank you. And I was about to announce that as part of adjournment, so I will go on to agenda item 4 for this meeting, adjournment. Thank you, commissioners. That concludes the business before the Independent Redistricting Commission today. Our next meeting will be an IRC special meeting planned for Tuesday, December 14th at 2 p.m., which will be held both virtually via Zoom and in person at the County Operations Center, which is located at 5500 Overland Avenue, near the intersection of the 52 and 163 freeways, in Training Room 120, San Diego 92123. Again, commissioners, I want to reinforce, I know the scheduling demands on your time, but I very much want to take advantage of that 2 p.m. start time in order to allow for some public comment that I imagine we may be hearing. I also want to point out to commissioners that we will have some votes. We still have, in particular, as council and staff mentioned, but I'll reinforce, a statutorily required final report. Because this is a special meeting, the formal deadline for the agenda will be on Monday at 2 p.m., but we obviously will do all we can to get materials to you as soon as possible. That said, the final report remains an impressive but challenging undertaking. So please be ready when that comes, and please do as much advanced reading as you can. Of course, more details, maps, and meeting links for our County Independent Redistricting Commission are available on our website, www.drawyourcommunity.com. Thanks again for attending today. This meeting is adjourned at 5:57 p.m. Thank you all very much, and thanks for the kind wishes.
Thank you. Happy birthday, Chair Bame.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Chair Bame.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Getting to
Go
be an
Navy.
old man.
Thank you.
Catching up with me, David. Catching
Yeah,
up
thank
with
you.
See you on Tuesday, hopefully. See you on Tuesday.
Thank you very much. Take care.